Hey, welcome to the Dyna-Mic duo, everybody. I am Chopper Fett. You can call me Brett. With me, as always, is the leading slash man, Fletch. How's it going, buddy?
All right, pretty good, man. It's a wonderful Saturday here in Singapore, and it's raining as usual. Managed to get some rides in. As you know, folks, this is the Dynamic Duo, and we're here every week, either on Chopper Fett's channel or Brett's channel, or mine. And we are here to talk about quite a number of things each week. And of course, this week we have a special guest, Spiff, with us. Right?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And Brett, so what's the topic for today?
The topic for today is we're going to discuss the state of Harley Davidson. I think a few weeks ago I had made a video about some of my inputs on it, and Spiff here decided he wanted to join in on that party, and he actually wanted to originally have us set up and do like a podcast thing. I was like, well, I got this little show that Fletch and I run. Maybe we could just, air it out on here. Then someone else can listen to it as a podcast if they wanted to. So awesome. Yeah, so that's how we kind of came to be. And so Spiff was nice enough to even create topics for us tonight. So maybe, just maybe, we'll stay on topic for about 25 minutes tonight. So.
But I think before we continue, though, Spiff, since Brett has mentioned that you have a podcast, tell us a little bit about your podcast first.
I don't have a podcast. I was kind of just kicking around the idea of creating one. Right. I don't have enough. I don't know if I have enough topics really to justify putting out like an hour plus long podcast every however long. It would probably be like once every 6 months if it happened, and that's not nearly enough to keep that going.
Yeah. Yeah,
but you're on the right track though with all those topics set up, because that's the way to go, right?
I mean, any start's a good one, right?
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, but no, man. Even if you were to do a podcast, I mean, this is Fletch and I's 14th episode now, and the topics just kind of, it takes us, Fletch, about a couple of days to kind of come up with what topic we're actually going to talk about. And I'll say this much, and Fletch, you can be honest with me. The prep time that we used to put into this show is a lot less than it is now.
I can imagine.
I mean, we started off with literally doing, not a live stream, but just doing a recorded thing, and then we literally had to we're planning and mapping out what we were supposed to say and what segment and everything else, and suddenly when we went live, all that went out the window.
Yeah.
What happens is sorry man.
This is why we can't do live.
Yeah, because we've got so many things going on in our head. The thing is that what happens is that we text each other and say, okay, listen, what the hell are we going to be talking about this week? How about this? How about that? Oh, okay, great idea. Boom, it's done. So on Monday we talk about it. By Tuesday we sort it, and that's it. And then we play it by ear. Which is not really a good thing, I think.
I'm not sure the last time we actually said that's a great idea, but it's like, yeah, that works.
That'll do. Yeah. We can go with that.
I mean, honestly, there were a few really good ideas.
For sure.
And stuff. And it shows, in the topics and everything else. But then there are a couple of stuff that we just, okay, let's just go with this, and see how it goes.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and say hi to the side chat. Apologize if I missed anyone. I'm just going down what I see right now. See Mr. McStash, Jarhead 6, Walton, PA, Mr. McStash again. Chatty Cathy there. We got Bri the Biker, My Done Life, Jarvis is out there. So welcome everybody. Hope you're enjoying your Friday evening or morning, depending on where you're at. Saturday morning for Fletch there. So,
okay. I'm wondering about something though. I'm looking at our. Okay, it's okay. There was a lag because I thought it wasn't broadcasting, but it is.
Yeah, and you're coming in much clearer now, so that's good. So,
all right. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, we'll kind of hop on into it. I think the way we'll do the format this week, everybody, and with Spiff and everyone in side chat is We're going to get kind of through the initial topics that we want to kind of cover, but we also want to include you guys as well. So once we kind of get through the first part, we want to bring everyone in and kind of get their state. And it doesn't just have to be when we're all said and done about Harley Davidson. I mean, it could be about Indy and KTM, BMW, whatever you guys want to talk about. We got 2 to 3 hours here of fun open times. So we'll go ahead and get it kicked off, though. So I got to bring up my notes because I'm so well prepared. Current state of Harley. Spiff, what do you know about their current financial situations?
To put it bluntly, they're tanking pretty badly. I mean, I'm gonna be citing a lot of other resources as well, but they're doing a lot right now to mask that they're actually losing and hemorrhaging money. So like if you look at anything they're actually broadcasting, their parts per share is going up. However, their profits not so much. I used to work at a particular Harley Davidson in a particular state in a particular town that I'm not going to mention.
Sure.
But we were lucky if we sold one bike a month, and for any high end any high end dealership, that's not gonna pay the bills for very long.
Sure.
So and it's only gotten worse. I mean like back like a couple of years ago, a Heritage was maybe 15 grand. The Heritage Softail now goes for like 19K if you're lucky, and that's more expensive than a base Street Glide.
Yeah. Well, it's because they're now classifying the Heritage as a touring bike,
touring model, and
which is just marketing crap if I ever heard it. But
I mean, a Softail frame isn't that far away from a touring frame.
Sure.
It's a little smaller, maybe. It's technically better and more stable than the touring frame because of the monoshock system they have going on, and it's a great system. They're just innovating on the back end so much that they're trying to justify their R&D that other companies have perfected 10, 12, 13, 30 years ago, and now they're marketing it at something that's never before done. But
right. I mean, what comes to my mind when you say something like that, man, is the live wire. I mean, they're thinking this live wire is the new best thing that's ever come out of the electrical. It's like, dude, you can get a brand new F-Zero top of the line for 13 grand less than this bike. So
oh yeah, for sure.
So while you do have some cool features on the Harley, you're missing the market share is still going to go to F-Zero and all those other people who are sub 20,000. I mean, I just can't justify 30,000. I want to like it. I think it's a great idea. Just it was way off on the price tag.
I mean, and if you look at other markets too that are picking up the electric bike segment, what is it? Calc, I think, out of somewhere in Scandinavia. I didn't do the research on that, but the Calc Cake, I think it's called, is an electric dirt bike. It's an electric dual sport.
Nice.
And it's probably I think it's going for like 14 grand right now, and that's at like the pinnacle of new technology. Because I mean,
who does that, right?
Yeah, and it's not like electric vehicles have never been thought of before. It costs 100K to be able to.
Jeez.
I mean, just to be able to sell one bike or to sell a model, because if you're talking about it costs 100K to sell a model, if you do it right and you invest that 100K right, that's pennies in the bucket compared to what you could actually make if you had a good marketing team that was worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, my guess is that 100K, because I know my local Harley dealer was one of the first ones to actually start the install process. But I mean, they had to put in like charging stations and this, that, and the other thing. So I'm sure that goes into the price of everything, which does. But it's like
it's the initial.
My local Walgreens has a charging station. I mean, how much can it really? Obviously, it costs $100,000. But I don't know, man.
I mean, when you think about, well, you know, to me is it may be okay for the American market and maybe great for the European market with the emission standards that they have. But here in Asia, we got a lot of additional taxes on it, right? And then, of course, the conversion rate. You know, so imagine you mentioned. Let's take the Heritage as an example. You were saying $18,000, right? It is here in Singapore about $48,000, right? But the exchange rate isn't that very bad. You know, it's $1 to 134, I think, Singapore dollars. So isn't that very much bad, right? Yeah. But then we have taxes and we have import duties tariffs and shit and everything, right? So if the Heritage is going at 18,000 and it comes over here at 48, imagine what the cost of the live wire is going to be.
The live wire would probably be somewhere around like 80, 90, 100,000. That's not gonna sell.
Because the Road Glide is going for 70,000.
Yikes!
Right? So the live wire is gonna go for 100,000. I might as well go out and get a car. Right? If I'm into getting a cage, right? So but this all boils down to when you talk about R&D earlier. And you know, they had a change of CEOs. The previous CEO is the one that brought this thing in twice, right? So the previous one brought in the live wire, and he brought in a few other bikes, and I think he moved for the change from the Softail frame and getting rid of the Dynas, because he wanted to get the newer and the younger crowd, right? Because the monoshocks were more a sports bike frame and handling. Right, that's the way it was. Right, monoshocks has been the way that way, and you know, handling gets better with those kind of. It's true, you can't get away from that, but then it takes it away from what a Harley used to be.
Yeah.
In a sense, right?
I can yes and no. I mean, I can definitely understand both sides of that. I mean, the monoshock system makes it better handling. The monoshock system in and of itself can be very Harley-esque. I think they did, as far as the aesthetics, they did a really great job with keeping in line with their traditional Harley look. You've got a Softail frame, you've got a Springer frame in the rear that looks like a hardtail. Right. You know, it looks like the ass end of a panhead. Let's be really honest about that. It does, and it's a good look. It is an absolutely good classic look. I think where they lose it is that they talk about like, oh, check out this new Milwaukee 8 engine. It has all of these new innovations. Yeah, but you're still running push rods though.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's part of the appeal to a lot of people, myself included. I love the look of and sound and just the chug of a pushrod engine.
That's right. And I think they experimented a lot as well with bringing in, you know, in trying to get the younger crowd and trying to get the sports bike crowd. The FXDR comes to mind, right? That's a true departure from the typical cruiser, and you really, in terms of tank capacity and in terms of what you can put on it to go touring, suddenly goes out the window, right? Because right, because Harley Davidson is about cruising, it's about touring, seeing the country. That's the tagline, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the thing with the FXDR though, I mean, and where they, you know, I don't want to say they missed their mark. I mean, they did, but they didn't. I mean, to me, that's a bike I would love to have someday because I'm a V-Rod fan. I'm a Breakout fan. It's that muscle bike, kind of like the Suzuki M109R that Roland has. Right. So I mean, they're meant to go quick in the straight line, and they do actually handle fairly well. The V-Rod and Breakout, the ones that I've ridden, both handle surprisingly well for a 240 rear on the back. But where they missed it is, and I have this coming up in an upcoming video, so I'm not going to sound like I'm repeating myself in a couple of weeks when it goes out, but the FXDR missed on price, because when it came out, it was $21,000 as well. So again, this is two examples now where price has kind of hurt Harley Davidson. Yeah. What do you get for $21,000? You get a 114 with nothing to go with it. You can't put saddlebags on it. You can't put a sissy bar on it to put a bag on it. Mm-hmm. The only thing that you have for storage was in that little seat.
Yeah.
And what are you going to put in there? Your wallet, and call it good. And so what that bike needed to do is, when it came out, it needed to be a $15,000 bike with a couple options. $15,000 with a 107 or $17,000 with a 114. And I think you would have a little bit better market share if you had the available options anyway.
But you know, Brett, here's the bad news though. They're discontinuing the FXDR and the Breakout.
Oh, I know. So maybe I can find one.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like the Lowrider RS from the Dyna, where it's going to maintain its value. I think they'll tank in about 5 years, and maybe you could pick one up for 10. So
V-Rod's even tanked. And honestly, okay, so talking about the FXDR, since we're, kind of logical steps, I think the FXDR was a logical step on the drawing board.
Agreed.
I think they had a really awesome concept for kind of a not a predecessor. What's a successor to the idea of the V-Rod. I think that they missed a couple of marks to hit the bullseye. And I think instead of putting an M8 in there, because let's think about the power that even a twin cam versus a Revolution has, because if you're going generation to generation, the Revolution engine just completely blows the twin cam out of the park, and even the Revolution engine even blows the M8 out of the park as far as raw to the wheel horsepower and torque. It is specifically designed to haul ass down a quarter mile and beat. It almost competes with I mean, I wouldn't say a Busa, but it competes. Maybe.
Well, at least the older R1s, and not the latest ones. Yeah.
Pre-cross planes.
There you go.
But I think that they missed a couple of things. I think taking out that rear subframe was a bad idea, because you could at least put saddlebags on a V-Rod. Why you would want to tour on a V-Rod is beyond me.
Hey, now, to be fair, so my dad's V-Rod came with the saddlebags, and they are I don't know how hot of an item they are, but you can't get them anymore because they suck. But you could very well tour on a V-Rod. I'm not sure if you had a chance to ride one. It's more comfortable than my Dyna is with Legends and everything else. I could go all day on the V-Rod. I don't know what it is about it, but it's comfy, man. It's comfy.
I don't know. I've got an odd rider triangle too. So
okay, that could be part of it.
I didn't particularly like the V-Rod because I thought it was too. I think the seat is shaped really weird. I think that the rider triangle it's a little too full. Thanks, James. I think the rider triangle is a little too full taco. You're trying to bend over and touch your toes a little too much, and I'm not really a fan.
Yep. And I think it got progressively worse,
though.
Right?
Yeah, that rake though. And when they came out with the V-Rod muscle, they kind of squished the airbox down.
Yeah.
And I just
that's the one.
Like, okay, so your airbox that's supposed to be a faux tank is now a pancake. What are you doing?
My
God.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see the appeal of the V-Rod. It's just it doesn't suit me. I'm all leg, I've got long arms, and I've got no torso. So like I'm already tacoed, and then like I have to taco a little bit more because my short torso makes me have to reach further. So it's like I can't get behind it.
No, I
That's
agree.
fair.
I understand. I mean, to me, is the V Rod was again about getting towards trying to get the younger crowd and everything else. They had a Porsche design Revolution engine, right? It does have significant horsepower behind it, but then they put a large rear wheel. The muscle is the worst, right? Then you can't take corners, right? So that kind of defeats the purpose, because then it's just straight
Plus
line.
that rake, yeah.
Exactly, right? Then you can't do a U-turn. You're only talking about straight line, right, down a quarter mile. But that's not riding, really, and I think what's your take on the design over the last, say, 15 years? I think that's when the V-Rod came in, right? About 15 years ago.
V-Rod was 02 and then discontinued it with the Dynas, I think.
So yeah, that's a 15-year run. Yeah,
right.
That's not bad.
So that's where it started anyway.
I mean,
right?
For Harley, that's a pretty good run.
Look at that sexy guy.
There you go. Oh, look at that. It's the Wolverine one.
The Wolverine.
I mean, yeah. So we're talking, your riding profile, and this is why I wanted to bring it up, because everyone's just different. So see, for me, I don't have that taco feeling on this bike. I actually have the cruiser feel when I ride the V-Rod. So it's weird, because maybe it's got gigantic legs or whatever, but
those big gorilla arms.
Yeah, big gorilla arms. So, good stuff though. But yeah,
I think it still looks good, right? And I think it was fairly comfortable for you, right? Was it?
Right. It's good for me, but not necessary for everybody. So
right.
Exactly.
And of course, everybody has their preference. I don't think the V-Rod is by any means a bad bike.
Right.
I think it's intended for a specific purpose, and I think people try to use it for something that isn't that specific purpose. And that's why people give it such hell.
Yeah. I will say this. It's a terrible city bike. It's a god-awful city bike.
Oh, really?
One of the test rides I did on my dad's, I decided to go into the city just because, cruising 55, 60, almost any bike can be comfortable. But I wanted to see if I was kind of seeing, like, can this be a Sportster-esque bike for me where it's enjoyable to ride in the city? Now, it gets really hot, even though it is liquid cooled. It gets really hot. You hear the fans always kicking on. And it's not enjoyable.
And it's a sewing machine.
It is a sewing machine. It's just not enjoyable in that stop and go traffic. Now, if you get out country roads, fine, perfect. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely got its place, but not everywhere.
That's true. Yeah. And I think all this comes also from, I was just thought about it, and it's about marketing. And I mentioned the X-Men, right, and Wolverine. I think Harley has a really good workings with Hollywood, right? So every big Hollywood movie has a Harley Davidson in it for sure, and they even put in, they probably paid a lot of money, because normally most bikes they will just paint it out. You won't see the name. It looks like a Ducati, but it's not, right? You can't really tell because they painted it out. But Harley Davidson straight off. So when they launched the V-Rod, they knew the X-Men was out. That's X-Men 1, right? And you have the Wolverine riding the V-Rod, and exactly that V-Rod as well, right? That silver color one. So that pushed it a little bit.
When he stole it from Cyclops.
Exactly. And Cyclops is the first one to ride it, right? And then, of course, the iconic one is the fat boy from Terminator, right? And now you see a lot of it. In fact, I just watched the Cobra Kai, for instance. So there's one point where they say, okay, let's go on a road trip, and everybody's on a Harley Davidson, right? So the marketing was pretty good, But I think in terms, spending that kind of money, and that's probably where most of the money went as well, because it's not going to be cheap to get that kind of direct advertising. They spent a lot of money on it. They were hoping to be able to get the people from that. They had the Wild Hogs movie, which is purely Harley Davidson, right? And stuff like that.
What's up, man?
But Hello, Moto. Hey, what's it going? So I think for each model, and look at LiveWire. Where was it featured?
The Livewire was featured
Coming
under
up.
Black Widow.
Exactly.
Actually, it was
Right,
and-
which was
cool.
Right,
Yeah.
it was on the Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Was the first
Yeah.
Wait,
time,
wait,
right?
wait,
You've seen
wait. Because as I have to bring this point up, that's not a live wire in Age of Ultron, I don't think. And that's what I'm
Ooh,
thinking.
no, you're
Oh,
right.
No, sorry.
I thought it was a
Um,
Street 750 is what I thought.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry,
it
that's
was
just
actually it was
750,
yeah. So the first
Civil War.
Avengers placement, the first Avengers placement for Harley was at the end of the first Avengers.
Right.
Cap was riding
Yep.
away on a Softail Slim.
Yep.
Right. Exactly, and stuff like that, So the Livewire, I can't remember which one now, whether it's Civil War or is it Captain? I think it was the Winter Soldier or something that the Livewire was in that she wrote it.
Mhm.
But anyway, it's through this kind of thing, it's trying to get people interested in it, into Harley Davidson. But I think they spend way too much money in that arena. Although it's good, yeah. But then again, what message are you sending, right? If
You have to be a superhero to ride a bike.
Exactly. Right. And last but not least, is it really going to be doing all the things that you see them doing it as well? You see Cap
Right.
in
If you're
the
really talented.
exactly.
Maybe if you're Buddy Huddle.
Exactly. So I think it was Captain America's the Winter Soldier that he literally tossed the 750, right?
That was the beginning of Age of Ultron. He
Right.
jumped up and just threw it at a tank.
Yeah.
Right. So
Where it
it's a
belongs.
750. So then that's a 750, right? The street
Mhm.
750.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're trying to, what kind of
Well,
thing you're trying to push as well.
It's
right?
light.
Because what they're I think what they were trying to do is because most of those, I mean, yeah, you could say those movies are aimed at a large demographic,
Mhm.
but most of the generation who's looking at millennials and zillennials or whatever you call them after that. Yeah, that guy right there. And so it's like, oh wow, look at that motorcycle. And then they're like, oh wow, that's a Harley Davidson. I think that's what their pitch
That's
was.
what they're hoping.
Yeah.
But I don't know I mean, the only thing that I can gather from that specific scene of Cap riding a Street 750 into a combat zone and then chucking it at a tank is that it's a disposable bike, and B, Cap's a tool. Like that's all I get. Like
And I don't think I ever saw the new Fantastic Four. So
that's
the old one. He was riding an Indian. It was
yeah.
He was riding an Indian. Right, when he was
still
going
poor
over the
placement
thing.
if you ask me, but
Yeah.
Indian I have a whole other bone to pick with Indian, and that's gonna be another topic.
all right. Well, let's we'll continue on with our topics
Sure.
here. I think we did pretty good with their financial situation. And look, we're at 28 minutes and we got way off subject already.
Oh, no, we'll pull it back.
Oops.
So when
Bring
you
it
think
back.
about, we're still
Bring it
on the topic of marketing, right? So now
True.
they've made
That's
now with a new
financial.
CEO,
Okay.
not financial, but now they have a new CEO,
Mm.
and in terms of marketing, they want to change the entire lineup, right,
Yep.
of motorbikes that they want to offer. So they're going to cut it down, and what they've done was they've gotten rid of the FXDR, the what was the other muscle bike,
Breakout,
the Breakout,
Mhm.
right, and one other bike as well. So
Softail Standard? No, not Softail.
No, they brought that back. Actually, they brought back the standard.
They discontinued the Softail.
Slim, right? Or
No, they
something
kept
like
it
that.
slim.
No, they keep that bike's way too iconic.
It's one of the Softails. It's not the Heritage.
Was it the deluxe?
The Deluxe, I think, is
Yeah.
what they got rid of.
Okay.
I think
Side
they just
chat,
stopped.
help us out.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So
But,
what do you think about the marketing direction now that they're doing these things?
Honestly, okay. That's the marketing that I think they're trying to. I think that the quality of the marketing is good. I think that the direction that they're taking with the actual content that they're using for their marketing is a little lacking. if you look at, I'm gonna pull a page out of Jason Momoa's book. He's been going to like across the country and doing advertisements for select Harley Davidson dealerships, and that is an amazing concept. And the whole idea behind Harley, well, marketing right now is that it's classic, you know, it's heritage to this, and look at our pedigree, and Jason Momoa is certainly doing a really good job of capturing that, and capturing it really well. And you know, that whole idea of tradition and passing that tradition down from generation to generation, and that appreciation for that you know, that chugging engine. But I think that the content of Harley marketing in general, I think it's a bit lacking, personally. I think they're still trying to attract a generation that just doesn't. I'm gonna go ahead and say just doesn't exist anymore, because you know, millennials and zillennials, and they're taking over, and it's not that we're ruining Harley. I have one. It's right here. I have one. I have a Harley. I love my Harley. And I think the whole idea of this brand loyalty is getting in the way. I love my Harley. I'm not going to sit here and try and offend anybody, but I don't really give a damn about anybody else's Harley. Like, I can appreciate what it is. Like, Brett, I love your bike. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely wonderful. It's a Dyna and a lowrider, and that's my favorite thing ever. And Fletch, your bike is amazing. But, you know, like, if I'm gonna sit and pick between your Dynas or my Dyna, I'm gonna pick my Dyna.
Oh, sure.
But you know, I don't necessarily subscribe to a brand culture. It's the idea. My mic is meowing. Yes, I have a cat, and she doesn't shut the hell up ever. Yes, I use live cat for my dead cat.
That's what's on there.
Oh. Yeah, I know what you mean. And from a boomer's perspective, right? You know,
Boomer.
It's true. I think a lot of people in my generation are brand loyal, right? A lot of us are. It's a Harley or nothing. You know, anything else. It was only recently that it's not. Yeah, it's not just a bike as well. And it's only recently, and I say recent because it's like 20 years ago that they finally brought in the Indians here into the Southeast Asian market. You know, but other than that, if you want to talk about something iconic, and you want a cruiser, it's only a Harley.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter what. You know, that's the funny thing, because so long the boomers, I've noticed anyway, my generation of guys who finally get their dream bike would go for a Harley Davidson and go for what they can afford. And if it means just getting a street, just get a street. So long as they can say, I ride a Harley Davidson.
Yeah. See, to me, that's. To me, if you get a street, I mean, yes, you're riding. You're riding a Harley Davidson, but you're not riding what personifies it as a Harley.
Exactly.
But I mean, it kind of segues kind of to our next point with, you know, because we kind of talked about them branching out the live wire and some of the other things. Now, the news, again, I'm going to end up repeating myself so much in my latest videos. I'm glad no one watches my life. No, just kidding. But so there's a few new bikes coming out. There's the Pan America. Yeah. There's another one, and then there was the Bronx, the Street Fighter. And they have delayed the Street Fighter. And I went on to a whole video about how a typical Harley Davidson big 20 lowrider cruiser guy is mad that they delayed this bike.
Okay.
But but my reason being is one, it intrigues me, but two, they pretty much given up the entire market share to the Indian FTR 1200. I feel like they're similar enough bike, and basically Indian's going to take that market share, and then by the time that market share has been satisfied, that's when Harley will bring out this thing, and it's going to flop. It's going to look like another bad idea. Spiff keeps laughing here, so I'm curious if I'm going to be made fun of or what's going to happen.
No. I have some very specific feelings on the Bronx. First of all,
up here so people can see what it's about. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. No. I was super excited for the Bronx. I was really excited for the Bronx. I wish they didn't call it the Bronx, because that's some really low key highbrow racism going on right there, and that's you sure you really want to do that, Harley? Because let's think about. I mean, I could go on a whole spiel as to why that's some stupid nomenclature right there. But look at that. Look at how sexy that looks. Look at those lines. It's just it's if an SV1200, an SV1000, like shagged a Sportster and had a baby.
Yeah.
Like, and not even just a Sportster, but like specifically the XR1200. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Would you look at it?
It's beautiful, and it's something. I'm not crazy about the belt drive. Not gonna lie, but I mean Buell. It's a Buell. It's just a remarketed Buell, and exactly. I mean I'm okay with that because I like Buells. I think Buells are so neat. But I was really looking forward to the Bronx because it was something that Harley never tried without gritting their teeth until now. Now Harley's actually trying to get in the game with actual research and development and actual innovation and actually stepping up their game with the changing times and adapting to what's coming out now and what's selling and what people are actually looking for. And then they said, JK guys, it's a joke. No, we're not doing it. And so, I mean, granted, it's got a price tag.
They haven't canceled it.
They haven't canceled it.
Delayed.
It's been delayed. Yeah, but but let's think about Harley and their delaying things. If it's delayed, chances are it's probably not going to happen.
It's double speak, right?
Yeah. Delay is the safe word, is the safe way to go if you want to pull something but you don't want to piss people off.
Yeah, that's right. And of the three models, the Cafe Racer actually is a throwback to the 70s sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe. I think it's the XR.
The XR 750.
Right, the XR 750. That's right.
That was So that was what they were trying to do with. Honestly, that's what the FTR 1200 was basically they. I mean, that is gorgeous. That is a gorgeous piece of machinery.
Yeah, it is.
And I would love to ride one day. But the XR 750 was the flat tracker that they went with, and I really love it. I would really love to have like an XR 1200 and just actually mod it out for being able to like go, you know what? I don't feel like having to take twisties to work today. I'm just going to go straight up the middle. But as far as their marketing always to me seems and where their direction always seems to be on the back end of the curve.
Yep.
Like whereas not so much Suzuki now anymore, but Honda really likes to push boundaries. Kawasaki really loves to take what Honda does and say, I can make it better for cheaper. And then Yamaha's just like, I just want to ride something that's going to make my skin peel off. And then, I mean, Yamaha, especially lately, has really been ahead of the curve on research and development. I mean, that cross-plane engine is just whew, that thing is to die
I
for.
agree.
It sounds badass. Like I think any Harley guy can agree that an R1, a cross plane crank R1 just sounds mean.
Yeah, it does.
Um,
I have a guy who owns one here. It
It's-
makes a difference.
oh yeah, and it sounds like half an LS1. You know, it hauls and it's
Yep.
good at what it does. And Yamaha's really good at making that specialized research, you know, concept engine.
That's true.
But the whole, they're expensive also, like but they're not nearly as expensive as a brand new Harley even now. Like a brand new R1, I think base model R1 costs like maybe $1,200.
Yep.
That's not
That's
that
true.
bad for that level of research and development. Whereas
Exactly.
Harley's saying, look at our new engine. It's based on old technology that has some computer stuff. Buy our bike, 20 grand, please.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I can't get behind that R&D costing so much. I don't. They set themselves. They made their bed back in the 80s to bail themselves out, and they neglected to pay the price before, and now it's coming back with interest now. And so I think that's what the problem is with their marketing. They're trying to market to a generation that doesn't market the same way.
That's
All
true.
right.
And
All right,
what
this,
about the Pan American?
Ooh.
This link here is for My Done Life if he wants to join in, even though he says he's afraid to. Don't get in trouble,
Hey, man.
man. Don't get in trouble. But if you have some words, feel free to hop in there, man.
Oh yeah, the Pan America.
Oh, and Holler Moto also has an opinion on this subject. We are lighting the fires here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone who actually kind of wants to join in, feel free. I can keep you in the background for now as well, but and I can bring you in. Spiff, what's your take on that Pan America though?
So I had an analogy for this earlier, and I don't remember exactly what it was. Yes. The Pan America is basically if a Buell and a Road Glide shagged. Like that's what it looks like.
Everyone's making babies and hooking up with you.
Because it's a concept that already exists, but they slap a Harley logo on it, and I mean, it's rightfully so. It's a Harley bike. I think it's a great concept. I think it's something that they're dipping their toes into a market that's if Harley made a Triumph Tiger. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's great. I think it looks cool. I'm gonna reference something super obscure. Fletch might get this. Brett, you might get this. Have you ever seen Robotech? The 1980s anime, like way back in the day.
Sounds familiar, but I can't recall it off the top of my head.
There was this whole season of this animated show back in the 80s, and it was all about like transforming planes and aliens invading Earth, and as things are in the 80s. But they had this motorcycle called a Cyclone, and it reminds me of that. And I thought it was a really cool concept, and I thought it was boxy and utilitarian, and it was green, and it was all of the things that Harley used to be when they really got big, when they actually kind of became something. And then they said JK, and I'm like, that's your heritage right there. That is your pedigree. That is the concept of what you were modernized. How do you turn away from that?
Oh, not to cut you off there, but we already welcome in Mr. Moto, another guy local to me ish on the north side, if I remember right. But
yeah, you're just south of me.
I'm as south as it gets in KC. So how you doing, buddy?
Right. So
Hey, Halamoto, how's it going?
not bad, Fletch. Not bad. See, that's my crossbones back there being all sad.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
That's
own
actually
one,
what I'm
so
in the
that's
middle.
a beautiful bike.
That's what I'm in the middle of doing is putting the neck back together. I got the whole front end off of it.
Oh, were you the one who posted that in Shade Tree's? Yep,
Yeah,
I saw that. I saw that this morning.
Yeah. Yeah, Springer front end, notorious for knocking out neck bearings. So
Yeah.
maintain your bike.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would we do that?
I regret. Yeah, exactly. I regret selling my crossbones, man. That was a beautiful bike, man. Jesus.
I love mine.
And
I do love it. I really do. It's they are good bikes. It's actually been a really great bike. It really has.
Actually, when you think about it, they've taken away a lot of iconic bikes off their inventory. When you think about it, from the late 80s all the way to the early 2000s, there was always a Springer in their lineup,
Always.
Mhm.
right? And I thought the Springer
Yep.
lineup was still the best because no matter what you think about it, it has both the functionality and the fact that it looks really old school. You know, you could, and we were talking about Hollywood, right? And Hollywood was always, if they went back to the 40s or in Indiana Jones, they actually used the crossbones or at least a Springer to be able to
Mhm.
recreate that. And I think that's very iconic. And the fact they got rid of that was pretty sad. You know, and
It is.
that was
It's, and it's one of those things where they base it off of, well, we're trying to phase out old technology, but they're phasing out old technology that actually still does work. Like this,
Oh,
the
for sure.
Springer,
exactly.
the Springer works really great, and it's really comfortable, and it's iconic. I mean, you can't get another bike that looks like this, and a lot of people love that look,
No.
and they got rid of it. You know, it's I don't know. That's when they got rid of the Springer. They got rid of the crossbones of Springer, the V Rod, and then just kept going and going. And when they changed the Dynas over to Softails, that was it for me. I'm done.
Well,
You know,
I
that was it.
honestly, as far as getting rid of the Dyna, I have a mixed message on that one because when I heard that they got rid of the Dyna, I was really upset. And honestly, it was the same thing that happened with the FXR. Everybody, nobody bought them. I mean, nobody really bought FXRs, and then they got rid of them, and then everybody had a shitstorm. And then what was it, like a year later, after they discontinued the FXR, the Dynas showed up, or like maybe what was it, like maybe 10 years or so?
Yeah.
And then nobody bought them until Sons of Anarchy happened, and then everybody started buying them, and then they stopped it, and everybody lost their mind. And you know what? I mean, the Dyna's honestly just as iconic as the FXR, as the Springer, as you know.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah. Because I've owned. That's all I've ever owned are Dynas. I mean, I've had a couple Sportsters just for funsies, but I mean, I've only owned Dynas, and then. Went up to the dealership one day. I'd been looking for crossbones for about 3 years. I went up to my local dealership, Outlaw Harley Davidson. So I'm about 3 blocks from it. And
Nice.
my salesman up there, me and him are actually really good friends. Walked in, I was taking it up there to get service, get some tires and shit put on it. And I walked around the corner and that crossbones was sitting there. And I was like, and then my buddy, he walks on the corner. He goes, "Hey, Halder, what's up?" I said, "Nothing, man." I said, "My yellow Super Glide." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "That's yours." And that crossbone's mine. Get the paperwork done. And that's how that happened. I went up there to get tires. I walked out with a bike, but that's how I got my Super Glide. I took my other lowrider up there to get tires. And I seen that Super Glide sitting there, and I was like, I'll just get another bike. Screw getting tires. I'm just going to keep buying bikes.
That's why it always takes forever at a Harley dealership service, because they want you to see something and trade it in while you're in the waiting area.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a ploy. It's a ploy.
Honestly,
it
happened a lot. It did happen a lot when I was working at Harley Davidson. I was in the service department. I was a service advisor, and it did happen a lot. We would like ask people if they were waiting or if they were gonna come back. And if they were waiting, a lot of the time, they would trade in their bike and buy a new bike. And I do say a lot of the time, being, previously I said they would sell a bike once a month, but, most of your sales are trade-ins while they're waiting for a service.
Right.
And then,
So what's
I would
go ahead,
get
sorry.
screwed on that paycheck, but, whatever.
So what's the production numbers on the Crossbones? Because I feel like you never see those guys for sale. They're always it's always the other standard cocktail out there.
The production numbers, I don't know them off the top of my head. They were only made from what 07 to 2011, 2012, something like that.
That's not that long.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, it
Oh,
wasn't.
dude.
And I was actually wrong for the longest time. I thought they only made them from 07 to 2010 or 2009, and then somebody corrected me, and then I looked it up. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. I was wrong. But my particular one in 2008, they made a run of 500 bikes that had a little bit of different shit, had a little bit of hotter cams in them, had a badging on them, stuff like it. And the paint on the tanks, the pinstriping, all of that's always stickers. Mine's actually paint. And
Same.
mine's number three.
Same.
It's like number 375 out of 500. When I bought that from Harley, they didn't know what they had. They didn't know that's what it was. So they sold it to me at a regular Crossbones price.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So, I paid, it's Harley Davidson, so I paid $12,000 for a T-shirt and got a Harley with it, But anyway, back to
What's up, gentlemen?
Go ahead, man.
Pan America. I think the Pan America could be a great bike. I don't like the styling of it. I don't like the front end. But I'm not a fan of the Fat Bob either. I hate that bike. It's ugly, and it is the most uncomfortable bike I've ever ridden in my life.
Wait, are we talking about the Softail Fat Bob?
Yes, the new one.
Oh, thank you
Yes.
so much.
I did dude. I put a video out on one, a test ride. A buddy of mine has one, and he let me borrow it for 10 days. And I did a bunch of rides on it, and I got so much hate on that video because I couldn't stand. They're like, "Well, you didn't even like the bike before you got on." I was like, "No, look at it. I don't like it." And then I get on it, and it is the most R1. You were talking about R1.
Oh yeah.
I love R1s. They are uncomfortable bikes to ride. They are horribly uncomfortable. This bike is a cruiser, and it puts that bike to shame. This bike is so uncomfortable to ride. I can't stand them. But the Pan America. Go ahead.
I remember when you put those videos out, and I was like, because I haven't ridden it, so I was like, oh, he's crushing me because even in like the thumbnail of the title, it's like you said, you just pretty much can't stand the bike. And I was like,
right, yeah.
All right, let's listen to him. Let me hear him out. And then, dude, we actually say what's wrong with the bike and everything. It makes 100% sense. And I think that's why I comment. It's like, there could be a bunch of haters who hate you for bashing on a bike, but dude, it's your own opinion. Who gives a shit?
And that's what I said. I said, this is my opinion of this bike. This is my experience of this bike.
Right.
If you don't like it, don't go buy one. Then go test ride, see how you like it.
Right.
It's just my opinion of it.
Right.
I'm gonna go buy a Fat Bob just to contradict Moto. That is the most expensive point to prove ever.
I've seen some dumber stuff in my day. Let me tell you.
That's some expensive petty shit.
Some people do.
It's funny. When you guys were talking about the Livewire, absolutely, it's an awesome bike. It was way, way overpriced. They totally missed the mark in the price range.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then I feel sorry for the dealers. Like I said, it was $100. I was told from a dealer it was $100,000 to be able to sell live wires. That's why every dealer doesn't have one, because they have to have a trained tech on staff plus that charging unit. And I think that was mistake number 2 for Harley on the live wire. they didn't go with a standard charging system. They went proprietary. They tried to do the Apple thing, and it burnt them.
Right. Yep.
Being able to go and order a charger on Amazon and getting it installed in your home to charge, fast charge it, maybe not level 3 charge like you get at a dealer, but just being at least level 2 charge on a non-proprietary connector would have been the right way to go, and they missed it.
Yeah.
Personally, it's a $20,000 bike. That's where it should have sold at.
I would have been interested in it at 20,000.
I think a lot of people would have bought it at 20. Now, where you guys were talking about the Pan America, I think Harley's scared of Pan America, and I think they're scared. I think they're scared of the Pan America for a very similar reason that what happened with the V-Rod, which was another conversation you guys were having earlier. The problem is you got a brand new style of motor that's going to sound different. It's probably not going to sound potato that most Harley owners want to be like. But to be honest, it does, but it doesn't. It at least simulates that a little bit if you tune it
with the cam.
If you listen real hard.
But I think the other problem with the Trans America bike is that I think they're going to have the same problem that they had with the Livewire, which is going to be too much. They're going to shoot BMW plus price. That
GS 1200 price. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They're going to shoot for that price. Where they should be shooting for is above. Was it the KLR? I think it's the cheapest one, like $15,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
They need to shoot above that, but below the GS. That's where
I think 18,000 would be a good mark. Yeah, that would be. I think okay. So to tack on to what you were talking about, as far as the actual price tag of the bikes, I think the biggest problem, and this thought just occurred to me, actually, Harley is really banking on their bikes being worth more than the sum of their parts, and that is the biggest problem.
So this is a quote from Paul earlier, where Harley is iconic like Ferrari. So taking a step onto that, it's like the Livewire has Ferrari's type pricing in the motorcycle world.
Yeah,
all of Harley motorcycles have Ferrari type pricing. It's like you have to be a very rich person to buy some of these.
Buy some of them. Yeah.
Well, I think
for people our age,
I think the pricing that we're seeing now is a cause and effect of what we saw in the 90s. The thing about the Harley Davidson of the 90s, they obviously didn't have this big of a number of models available, but also there was a year to 18-month wait in the late 90s, early 2000s to buy a brand new Harley. You didn't go into Harley and say, "I want that bike." That bike, dealers were paying people to keep a bike on their floor. Dealers were paying their payments so they would have something to show on the floor.
Jeez,
that was a thing, and
I remember that. Yeah,
and that's why the premium pricing, and they continue that even though they started producing more and more and more bikes. And now they're in a situation they're producing a lot. They've produced a lot of bikes. And they've got obviously a lot of models, and I think what we're going to see is, or what we should see, is a condensement of those models. We're going to see the Softail standard, and what you're going to get is and they're sort of doing it now. You get those packages. So for $1,600, you get saddlebags and a windshield. They're going to have these different packages for these bikes.
So
right,
I'm not sure who it was, and however, I want to get to your thoughts on the Pan America here shortly. I think it was the Badgers. They had said that Harley Davidson is planning to soon announce essentially that 30% of their model lineup is going away. Now,
well, that's kind of what my last video on Harley Davidson was about. That like next year, no CVOs at all. They're not doing any CVOs.
I can't say for sure, but I have a feeling if there is, it's going to be one CVO.
Right, yeah, and then they're getting rid of the deluxe Softail. They're getting rid of that.
I think those are going to go.
And then there was a couple other ones, but they didn't list out the names that they were actually getting rid of. So I mean, it's already in the works.
Yeah,
We just don't know the rest of the bikes yet.
I'm not sad to see the CVOs go, honestly.
I don't really
I
care
also
about
have
CVOs.
I have a skewed perspective of them. I used to work, we'd have to push them in and out of the bays for service and everything. CVOs are over half a ton, like empty, dry.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
without
they're big heavy
bucket.
bikes.
It's for goddamn ridiculous. Why do you need that much?
Well, the other thing too is that CVO was almost always exclusive to a special motor. It always had a high performance motor or a bigger cubic inches, and we didn't. Last couple of years, we've not gotten that. The cubic inches we've seen in the model line has been available in
the special and in the model line. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I was surprised when they talked about the 124 or 131. What's the
131?
The 131. That particular motor, I can't believe was not a standard option in the CVO this last year.
Yeah.
Right.
I think if they're going to do a CVO, what they should do is they should take one of the Softail Dyna clones and like if they're going to really do a custom vehicle operations, make it a performance, make it a race bike, make it a stunt bike, do something radical with it. Make it something worth having that tag.
So kind of like a lowrider S with a 131
with a stunt cage. Yeah.
Right,
and a chain and a sprocket eliminator, it's a compensator eliminator kit, I mean, you probably shouldn't do that because manufacturer warranty, blah, blah, blah. But
it would be an off-road use only type of vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not for road use,
But I mean,
Actually,
back in the day, they did Dyna CVOs back in the day. I think they had a CVO wide glide and a couple other CVO Dynas. So I mean,
I'm gonna hate on the wide glide a little bit.
Oh,
every
they
did.
guy seems to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fletch.
It's not a motorcycle, baby. It's a chopper.
Because it's kind, that CVO green that everybody loves. That's where it started at. It was a CVO wide glide back in the day, and the color was green. That's where that green started at.
And I think it was only about 5 or 6 years ago that they decided to focus the CVOs only on the models,
touring,
right? So you had the Road Glide and everything else. Now, and the problem
there was a Softail CVO
as well. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But I think they started to go off that and went into the touring line, and then they stopped it for the Kings, the Road Kings, and then just went for the glides and the street glides, right? They just went for the glides.
They went for the Ultras and the Road Glide Ultras specifically.
Right, and I think the problem with this is that for the Asian market, there are some countries, and especially Singapore, there is a weight restriction. So if to me, Ultras can't sell here because of the weight restrictions, and then the moment you go into the CVOs, that's it. So they've lost out an entire market when they started to go up the half-ton range, right? Because we have a restriction of about 400 kilograms.
That's not that heavy.
It's not, right? So that means it's basically your standard street glide, your standard road glide, but not the Ultras. The Ultras are out the window. We can't have that. That's completely illegal here. And I think Malaysia and a few other places. So they've lost out on the entire Southeast Asian market as well. So I think that's strange.
Also, that's not that big of a loss to not be able to get those bikes. I really don't like baggers. I'm going to be real honest. I don't like baggers at all.
I understand the concept of a bagger. I think there was a recent situation where I actually had to push one of those baggers, and it took about 3 of us to push it because it essentially weighs 800 pounds. You might as well say
900 and they weigh. My uncle, Heather's dad, had a. It was an electric. I think it was an electric glide, like the last year of the electric glide. And it was
that's almost
900
1,000-pound bike.
Yeah, it was 970 something odd pounds.
Yeah. See the I know the trike is like 1,200 pounds.
Looks like tracks.
But I mean, the thing is that those things are just ungodly too big for me. I'll be honest, like I'm already in that hunt of possibly buying a new bike. In fact, there will be a video coming in a few weeks talking about this, about what my kind of thought. And to be honest, one of the bikes I'm looking at is not a Harley Davidson.
Good for you.
I know. I'll actually explain why I want this particular bike. But one of the bikes I am also looking at is a Dyna Switchback, which is kind of, it has the hard bags. It's got the winch.
I like the Switchback. I like the style of them, and I love the wheels on them.
Exactly. That's
Be wary.
Solid wheels.
Be wary of the Switchback. The luggage system, they tried to do Road King things on a Dyna, and it just does not work. So be wary of the luggage system.
As far as the attachment, or like
as far as the attachment, the brackets, they fail. The exhaust also has a tendency to rattle and shake and like completely break off. So be wary. It is. I was recently talking with a former housemate of mine before I moved to Ithaca. He wanted a different bike. You know, he was looking at this. He ended up wanting a Honda Fury, and he's trying to get one. But we were talking about other bike possibilities, and he had said something about Harley, and I said, "Look, dude, you're not a wrencher. You're not like, you're pretty new to motorcycles. You're not somebody that likes to wrench. Don't get a Harley because you don't like to wrench. Honestly, the only people that should ever have Harleys are people that actually enjoy working on their motorcycles.
Or you've got so much money that you
just don't care.
Right, you don't care. That's
and let's be honest, the vast majority of us are either one of those or none of those. So, I do like wrenching, so I feel like I can get away with a Harley. But if they do break down, they do have issues. There's no escaping it. Every single Harley has a quirk that you have to keep up on. For me, my tank bolts come loose every 6th or 7th time that I start up my bike. But there are certain models that have more problems than others. For the Dyna Switchbacks, it's the exhaust and it's the luggage brackets. Those are the every Dyna has a problem with its engine mounts. But
dude, I can't count the number of times that we had bikes on quality hold for this, that, or the other. It's hilarious, some of the things that they screw up in production.
At least, I want to say at least 70% of the people who would come in to the dealership, and I would write up an RO for it, a work order for it. It would be a warranty issue, whether it be a recall or it be something about any Harley owner that doesn't bash Harley at least once. I don't know if they're riding enough.
That you're exactly right. That was my thought. Is like, you don't ride a Harley if you can bash on it for something.
There's at least one moment where you kick your bike. Goddamn son of a bitch, Harley!
I had that recently, and if anybody's watched my last video, that day was that day, because man, that bike started. I was on the 4,000 above elevation on a Sportster, downpour, and it started dropping a cylinder on the mountain.
Oh no!
That part of it did, unfortunately, like, because of the rain, I had turned my GoPro off, but literally just after that, it started dropping a cylinder. And I'm literally telling this bike, I'm like, I swear to God, if you don't make it over this mountain, I'm going to throw you off this mountain. I'm going to the nearest dealership. I'm going to buy a new bike, and I'm going to ask for forgiveness later. That was my response. When I told my wife that, she both chuckled and gave me the dirtiest look on the planet.
The funny thing about that, though, like Sportsters are the most reliable bike that Harley has ever produced. That's not necessarily saying much, but it's saying something.
It's also the easiest bike to rid of.
Yeah. I think the only problem that you have with Sportsters is in the old ones is the gaskets, right? You'll blow a gasket if you do really long distances on it, but that's just about it. Very reliable. The crossbones as well.
The crossbones as well. Yeah.
The reason why Sportster engines burn out so much like that is because they have a really thin cylinder wall.
Mm-hmm.
for the size of bike that they're a very high displacement bike, and they burn really hot, and they have a very, very thin cylinder wall, and it's really difficult to disperse that heat from that thin cylinder wall to the cooling fins to the air outside. If it was a thicker cylinder wall, it would be so much easier, and it would be so much more efficient. That's why the 883s end up lasting longer than the 1200s.
Oh yeah.
All right. So
And also, if you're
go ahead.
I was gonna say, also, if you're unlucky enough to own a 03 or older, hand vibration and arthritis in your hands really starts to affect yourself.
Oh yeah. The funny thing about that is about Harleys and the shakes. I don't mind it for one, but for two, I don't really have that problem. Like, it doesn't bother me.
But do you have a rubber mounted motor?
Yes, I do. That's
and
absolutely.
You don't get it.
Like
I mean, it's like
If I turn on my
never.
handlebars, it's going like this, man.
When I let go, I'm getting mirror vibrations out the ass. But like when I'm riding, it just
That's
it doesn't bug
rubber
me.
mounted motors. That's why whenever I buy my Harleys, they're all solid mount.
Yeah.
No,
And
so-
rubber mounted motors will shake the shit out of you. You put a solid mount on there, it don't shake.
I don't have it. I don't have the problem.
I will agree with Spiff. Once you get up to speed on the Dynas, I don't notice this vibration anymore. Like, it's smooth. But I don't. I'm terrible at idle.
Even
Yeah.
sitting at idle on holding the clutch and the brake, I'm just sitting there chilling out. I don't.
Yeah.
You
It
don't really
doesn't
get
bother me. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no. I mean, it shakes. It can't
Right, yeah.
not. But it just doesn't bother me. Like, my hands don't go numb or anything. It's.
See, my
I don't know.
Sportster was an 883 converted to a 1200.
Oof.
It originally had the 883 gearing. I switched it to a 30 tooth gear.
Okay.
My bars are even weighted. I've got Kurakin ISO grips. And after about an hour on the highway at 65, 70 miles an hour, my hands, like, I can't hardly push the turn signal button.
Really?
Right, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I've been taking pretty consistent, like 4+ hour trips, like 3, 4, 5 hour trips, between here and Hudson Valley and here in New Jersey. And honestly, like, after I get to where I'm going, I need to go riding more.
Which is funny because the other bike
until you have to change a timing belt.
I got a friend that rode with me on the trip. That, like I said, if anybody's watching my videos, 17-year-old, 1,000 miles on a Goldwing that he had barely put 100 miles on prior to riding. So, the dude was a champ. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
But one of the bikes I'm actually looking at is about an 80 or 98, 99 Honda 1100 Ace, but it's a very specific version.
Ooh,
There was some of them that had this.
I have one.
Like a two-tone paint.
The copper and the cream.
It is the cream, but the color that I want is like the teal color.
Oh.
There was like that old 50 style teal.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
color.
about.
And I sort of found one that had been wrecked and somebody had actually replaced the bag, so I know what the green it also looks like. The green would probably be my second choice, but I really want the teal.
Okay.
But all I can seem to find are the black ones.
So I actually have an 1100 Ace, a 98 1100 Ace.
Do you have the hard saddle bags, the color match bags?
I don't have the color match bags.
Okay, the one I'm talking about comes with color match bags. And
you want a Tourer. You want an Ace Tourer. Yeah.
Yes, Ace Tourer.
The Ace Tourer is a really good one. It's a really good bike. Everything. I would honestly say that you can't go wrong with a Honda Cruiser at all.
No.
I had a very specific problem with mine that is very specific unto the situation that I was in. And that's why things happened, and that's why I had to replace my engine. I blew it up. The engine didn't just blow up. I blew it up. But they last a long, long time. You can put easily like 100,000 miles on those things as long as you maintain them properly. They are bulletproof.
All right, we're going to get back on track here because Spiff has gotten us off topic again, and this is his topic
I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. For like the last 20 minutes, I've been trying to work in a time I can get Holler to talk about this Pan America thing and
Oh, yeah.
about it.
Shit, I remember what I was. What's a Pan America? We went something else. I don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
It's a really cool bike that none of us can afford. That's what it's going to be.
Most likely, and one of the main things I'm worried about is it's going to be a Harley Davidson. And I know they're trying out a different engine. They're trying out different stuff. I haven't seen any numbers. How heavy is this bike going to be?
Let's find out.
How heavy is the Tiger?
I don't know. I know the GS, it looks heavy, but it's not heavy.
No, it's not. It's well
The
balanced.
GS is not heavy at all.
They're claiming, the Tiger's 547 pounds, and we don't have a weight.
Harley's going to be twice that.
If rumor is what I hear, it's going to be somewhere between 650 and 750 without
Pounds.
the bags. Right, pounds.
Jeez.
Without the bags.
Okay,
So
let me
that's-
see
that's-
what that-
I
what's that
mean,
work out?
650, that's not bad. But if you get it
I mean-
750, 800 pounds, that's going to be too much.
Yeah,
It's gonna be too
because
much weight. You're not going to be able to use that bike like you can in
Like it's-
GS or the KTM. You're not going to be able to. Or
Design.
even the Africa Twin.
It's not going to handle worth the crap at 800 pounds with bags in it.
no, and say okay, so it's supposed to be an adventure touring bike, right? It's supposed to be on off road.
Right, yeah.
I mean, look at the Super 10s, man. The Super 10s with the bags weigh about 680 pounds.
Yeah, but
Right.
I think
But, I
with
mean,
the market that the Harley's going for, they're going for the 70-30 guys. They're going 70% street, 30% mild
That's-
off road.
But that's
Right, but
what that's what
see, that's
the
the thing,
Super 10
though.
is.
That's the problem. The people that buy the GS 1200s or the Africa Twins, those guys take those bikes off road more than they buy them on road. And if they want to go after that particular people, they got to make a bike that can do that. And I don't think the Pan America will be able to. I really don't.
No.
I mean, if you take a look at,
I hope it does. What's that, Flash?
I mean, sorry, I think if you take a look at their promo videos on the Pan America, they take this guy, they show this guy, but honestly, he's not doing speed. We ride bikes and we
That's the
know.
blur effect.
I think,
Yeah.
I think that
Clearly.
the real bonus to this
Also
bike
a
is going to
professional.
be the performance. It's going to be that 140 horsepower. I think that's what they're claiming, or what the rumors are. I can't remember if they've said what the horsepower number is yet.
But
Right.
I think the reason behind the horsepower that they need is not to be taking it down like a Busa. Basically, it's to handle you need the rear wheel to handle off road.
Look
And that's the
at
idea
that.
of it.
Look at how that guy's riding, though. He's a professional.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's paid to do this, and this is his
Oh, yeah.
career. This is what he lives, eats, breathes, and shits. Like, this isn't a guy going out who's just passionate about it. This is his job.
Right,
And
but, I mean,
I'm noticing most of these clips there, none of them had the full bags on it either. It was just
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
as stripped down
Yeah.
as possible to get
I hope they get it right. I hope the price is right. I hope the weights are right, and I hope it actually performs and can contend with GS or Africa Twins and stuff like. I really hope it works out. I just don't feel like, even right now before it comes out, I already feel like they're not approaching it right.
And I think the success or failure of the Pan America is going to affect the Bronx. I know you guys were talking about the Bronx. I think the Bronx is a great bike, and I think it's the right market.
What are you covering your eyes for, Chopper?
no reason.
No, and that's the thing.
Jesus.
Let the shit show
The
be in.
Bronx, out of all these new bikes they're talking about building, the Bronx is the one I feel like they should be pushing harder. I really feel like the Bronx is the one that
I'm
should
right
be,
there with you, buddy.
especially right now. When you got if you really want to go after the younger generation, I'm not talking about us old guys. I'm talking about the younger generation. You want to go after them, you need to push that Bronx, because that's what the younger generation is looking for.
But it's got to be under 15 grand. That's
Look at
It has
that
to
front.
be.
Look at that front end.
That's terrible looking front end.
That's
Look,
ugly.
I would trim my beard with that front end. Like, it looks like a sheep shearer.
you know what? It absolutely looks terrible, but I bet you how wide a spread that lens is going to project
Oh,
light. I
great.
think it's going to be awesome.
I mean,
you know what? That's what they told me about the Fat Bob too. And then when I rode it at night, I couldn't see jack shit.
Yeah, but the Fat Bob's like what, barely 6 inches wide, 7 inches.
It's about I would say about 8 or 10.
That bike
it's
looks like it's nervous to be ridden with that cheesy grin. Like,
yeah, and it just
it's like
dude,
Mr. Mustang.
I could not see anything at night with that bike. I couldn't ride it at night.
Exactly.
You know, you know what I reckon the other major problem is? Who the hell's going to buy a Harley Davidson and take it around Tanzania?
Oh yeah.
Who's going to go? Yeah, who's going to? Because you're not going to be able to get a part to fix the damn thing, right? If you're riding around any of the Africa Twins, the GS, the Kawasaki's, the KTM's, there's parts interchangeable all over the world.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No self-respecting adventure rider is going to go and buy a Harley Davidson, take it to Tanzania, or take it to Ethiopia, or take it to the South Sudan, and ride through the Sahara, and hope to God that they can fix it somewhere along the line.
Well, right, because Paul,
but see,
I think. Oh, go ahead.
That's where our country is different from other countries, like say Australia or something like that. You guys go to other countries to ride your bikes. No, we ride them.
we've got all of that here.
Yeah, we've already got all
Rain,
that here.
shine,
We don't
sand,
go anywhere else.
dirt.
So that's
Yeah,
for
the
the United States, it would be okay. But yeah, for you guys in other countries, no, it's not going to work out.
So exactly. So if Harley Davidson is trying to grow their brand, which is what they're trying to do, why on earth would you go down that track? Why on earth would you produce an electric motorcycle that in America you can ride as far as 150 kilometers, when the whole thing about America is the big wide open road and we go forever and all that sort of stuff. You can ride at 150 k's or whatever it was, 100 miles in your metric.
Yeah.
And then I've got to sit on the side of the road for half an hour and I've got to recharge the thing.
Oh, it's longer than half an hour. You'll be sitting a lot longer than half hour.
Well,
Yeah.
and the worst part
What
is if
is-
you don't make it to a dealer, you ain't charging it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
What is the point? It's the most ridiculous set of marketing strategies I've ever heard. What Harley Davidson needs to do is
There's no Harleys in Montana.
is stick to their core values and their core design, right? If they want to increase their market share, what they need to do is bring out a cheaper motorcycle that's going to appeal to younger buyers at this point in their life. It still looks the same because these kids still like the look of the Harley, right? But it needs to be affordable for them because basically until you get to my age or 30 plus, you're not earning enough money to be able to afford a motorcycle that's worth that much, right? So you need to be able to appeal to a market that looks the same, has a similar sort of feel about them. However, it's cheaper to produce.
And
I agree.
I
I think,
Paul, this is the bike that I think they need to be focused on.
No, it is absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the bike right there they should push.
Yep.
Like I would be hard pressed not to go out and if I test rode one, I feel like, and again, this isn't my generation necessarily that they're going after, but I want to ride the shit out of that thing.
That's right.
But in the same
43 years old. I've sworn off mine Harleys. That bike comes out, I ride it. I'll buy that bike.
But the thing is, this should be the basis of the next Sportster.
It should.
Yeah.
Ah!
Okay.
But
Here's the thing. I need to say something though. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Somebody needs to mute their YouTube side.
It happened when
yeah,
it switched to the screen.
Now, let me get off of there. There we go. Let's just go and get that out. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. So as I was saying, I think Paul brought up a very important point. I think that what Harley fails in general is the fact that nothing that we have on a motorcycle is something that you could find in any motorcycle shop down the road, right? Because we want to travel long distances. Now, case in point, when I had the Crossbones and I traveled across to Malaysia, first of all, it was belt driven plus it was a is it a 240 or 220?
The
rear
rear
tire?
wheel?
Yeah,
Oh, it's only 200.
it's 200.
Yeah.
That's
I
not
think
bad.
I think mine was a 220.
Right.
Well, at
Well,
least they changed
it
it.
might be. You can put a 220 on them, but yeah, it's only
Right.
200.
So I had a 220 on mine, and nowhere could anyone change my tires. I couldn't get standard tires, but if I rode whether it's a KTM, BMW, what have you, I know that they would have the standard stock size tires to be able to change.
Right.
So that is just the tires, which is really important. Then you have the other parts that are specific to Harley Davidson, and then the problem with the Pan American, just like what Paul said, it's going to have stuff that you cannot get in any part of the world, right? And right now BMW's cranking up their marketing in a big way, right? You have the long way up that's just started, and they're pushing Ewan McGregor and Charlie riding their BMWs across everything, and they always end up crashing
South
the bike
America.
or fucking it up or something, and then they know that they will be able to go to any bike shop and get their tires changed and stuff and everything else.
About that series, not to interject too much, that series. Now, I watched most of their other stuff where it was really just them. The fact that you have a whole camera and support crew with you takes a little bit of the realism away from that.
Yeah, it does. But also, it's Ewan McGregor. Like, they're not going to just let Ewan McGregor just die.
Yeah, but
Right,
hang on. You got guys like people like Itchy Boots going all over the world. You got people like her two wheels are going all over the world.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They got a GoPro with them. So that's
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with the Pan America. Go ahead.
So what Harley needs to do is they need to, and this is I'm talking about if they want to save their business, right? They need to get out of the whole.
They are.
Yeah, they need to be able to appeal. Like they went into India, right? Now India is one of the poorest countries in the world. Why on earth would you go into India with the same stock as what you're selling in America, which is one of the wealthiest countries in the world? It's never going to do well. It's impossible. It just can't. Right? That's why India sells Royal Enfields.
British colonialism.
That's why India sells Royal Enfields like they're coming out of their ass, right? Because of the fact you can buy a Royal Enfield for $4.5K here in Australia. Which
the Himalayan is, I'll be honest, as a possible second bike. If I ever got a second one, that one's kind of on my.
Yeah, honestly, if I were to ever buy dad jeans, I would go for it. Royal Enfield.
But again, it's a massive. I don't know who their marketing people are or who their
the marketing team needs to be fired. The crazy people that they're instead of going after YouTube influencers and personalities, they're going after people we don't care about. Yeah. Rich people who got all kinds of money that. It's like they put their name on there was a sports team I think I saw on Adam Sandoval's video talking about it. They're putting their brand on things, spending millions of dollars on stuff that Harley riders don't give two shits about.
Yeah, Harley's got their logo on the Milwaukee Bucks logo or on their uniforms. So, yeah, who cares?
Well, okay, but there's only one thing as us, already motorcycle riders, and we have opinions and we judge and everything. One thing we're not looking at is with the Pan America, you have to start somewhere. If you're going to put something out there, you have to start somewhere. Yeah. Put it out there, see if people like it, build a base off of that. Yeah, it's going to be hard to get parts for it and everything, but you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, would you ever see Ferrari bring out a station wagon?
They brought out the Ferrari California. It's kind of station wagony.
I mean, Porsche did with the Cayenne.
And where's that now?
California.
California.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I'm not even going to go there.
Would you ever see GMC, like a GMC type of? Would you see them bring out a fucking electric hatchback?
Yes, they did actually.
And where's that now?
I mean, it's still kicking.
They stole them all back and they crushed them. That's what happened.
But all you're doing is, that still goes to what my point is. You have to try. If you're going to try to do something, try it. I mean, you have to start somewhere. You have to do something.
I mean, honestly, the Pan America is going. It's going to be a U.S. market bike. It's probably not going.
Is.
Australia might get it, but I doubt very much. England, India,
any of the Europe countries, I doubt that.
It.
I doubt that. You got to start somewhere, but it's like I just said though, they need to focus on the newer gen. If Harley Davidson wants to survive as a company, they've got to focus on younger people now. We've got all the whole. I know everywhere everyone lives, you have the old school hardcore Harley guys, but even them, they're still just going to buy older Harleys. They're not going to buy the newer bikes.
Well, and that was my thing. Even for the what I call new riders that they want to bring in, new riders ain't going to buy a brand new Harley most of the time. They're gonna buy a 5, 10, 15-year-old Harley. I owned a 20-year-old Harley, for Christ's sake.
Right.
And I bought it because I paid cash for it.
Right, yeah.
It breaks down. I don't care. I fix it when I got time. I got money. I don't worry about making a payment on it,
Right. But that Bronx, that can appeal, and that will bring new money. Younger riders will pay top dollar for those, but the top dollar can't be more than a damn Sportster.
Exactly.
Right. So, I mean, basically, you're fighting against Ducati. You're fighting against, a couple of the other major
You're fighting against everybody. You're fighting against Ducati, Yamaha, Kawasaki, everybody that makes a street fighter bike. You're fighting against everybody.
It's a tough market, but if they just did it, just do it.
That's right.
It has to be a bike that they have to be willing to sell volume. It cannot be a $20,000, $30,000, $35,000 bike. Can't be.
No, can't be.
No, it has to be a $10,000 to $12,000 bike.
I think new Sportsters are too expensive.
Oh,
I think they're about I think they're $2,500, $3,000 too expensive.
Dude,
absolutely, they are.
But
it's the name Harley Davidson. Yeah. That's what you're paying for.
Saw a lady local to me. She was trying to sell her husband's 883, and she was trying to get $11,000 for it. I'm like, why? Was
that on Facebook?
It was on Facebook. Yeah.
I saw that, Mike.
I'm like, and I messaged her directly. I was like, "You're not going to get that." She's like, "Well, this is what the retail is." I was like, "That's new retail. Yours has been off the lot for a year. It's not going to go for that. It's a $7,000 bike at best right now." And she's like,
as soon as you ride that bike off the lot, you lose $3,000 right there.
But like you guys were saying though, the Sportsters are overpriced. I mean, they used to be the $8,000 into the market bike.
You used to be able to get a top of the line bags, windshield, the whole like a touring one for under $10,000 or $11,000. Now you go get an iron with an exhaust, and they want $14,000 for it.
Right, and that's stupid.
We paid $2,500 cash for my wife's Sportster. Nothing
right. What I reckon they should be looking at doing is selling in all their ranges. Have a base model, then have a model that's already got a stage 2 kit put in it. A model that's got a stage 3 kit in it, and a model that's got a stage 4 kit in it, like the whole lot. Right? That's what I think they should
do. Peaches. Love you, Peaches.
All right.
And that's like with the stages. Everybody asks me what stage is my Crossbones. I've put so much money in my Crossbones is not a stage anymore. It's just built. There are no stages to it. Yeah, there are no stages to it anymore. It's like, oh, is it stage 4? Stage 4. What the hell is that? I passed that $3,000 ago. I mean, because I know not everybody here watches or have been following me very long, but for the past most of the years with this bike, I drag race it. Just the way it is, I drag race it. I mean, I've got a Crossbones that it started off life with what 78 horsepower, 82 horsepower, and now I'm well over 120 in it. I can beat sport bikes with that in a quarter-mile race, and that's one of those things I've kind of said is guys want to go fast. These younger generations, they want to go fast.
Yeah.
They want to go real fast. So you have to appeal to them. And I'm sorry, but the 103s, the 107s, the 114s, those bikes are slow. Their bikes are real slow. A buddy of mine was not a friend. He hates my guts because I beat him 4 times in a race. He bought a Geezer Glide, a damn street glide, with a 114. Claims he's put 10 grand in the engine. I don't think so. And I beat him 4 races in a row. I was like, well, either you did the work wrong or you just don't know how to ride, but your bike is slow. And I've got a 96 cubic inch. My personal opinion, 96 cubic inch is the best engine they've ever made.
It is, and honestly, it has the fewest problems.
It has I've never had a problem with this bike. Never once. I've got 18,000 miles in it. I broke the cams, but they weren't even Harley cams. They were aftermarket cams. I put aftermarkets in there and I broke them.
Gotcha.
But other than that, I've never had a problem with this bike except for the neck bearings, and you can see it looks pretty sad right now.
Every big twin that's been bigger than 96, the 103s, the 110s, the 121s, the 107, all of them, every single one of them has had rocker box leaks at like 15,000 miles. Yeah. I'm sitting on like 24.5 total engine miles, and I haven't had a single problem with my rocker box.
No, it's the 96 cubic inch is the best engine they've ever made. And
it has the best power to weight ratio for the smaller frames. Yeah.
Even before I started modding this engine out, this thing had ridiculous power. I mean, it's I don't know. It's just my opinion. That's always been my problem. I understand Harley tries to grow, tries to stay with times, but I think they take the wrong steps to do so.
Well, at the very least, Harley, even with the new bikes, leaves something on the table for people to. But they have to because of emissions. Once it's out of their hands, they don't care. But they also got smacked in the face with that EPA lawsuit a few years back with the tuners.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize. Everybody's like, why are they getting sued? Why are they getting sued? Here's why they got sued. It wasn't the fact that they were selling them. It's the fact they were putting them on the bikes. OEM, like you could order it with it on it. If you bought it and put it on yourself, or even paid the dealer to put it on, there's that legal disconnect. But the fact that you could order a Screaming Eagle Harley Davidson with that on it from the factory, that's why they got smacked in the face with the EPA suit.
Right. Yep. Exactly. That's one of those things. You know, you can. Like, say, the 114s. The 114s have the potential to be a great engine with awesome power, but they downtune them so much that you have to put so much money into them to unlock. You know, like that dude said he put 10 grand in. It's like, no, you didn't, because that bike would smoke mine, and he couldn't. I barely spin the tire, and I'm like, no, dude, you're lying. But
probably spent 10 grand in somebody else doing it. That's probably
probably
exactly.
You're paying Harley Davidson labor costs is what you're doing.
Right, exactly. I don't know. I think they're Harley Davidson nowadays are just hitting the market wrong. You know, the bad thing about it is we talk about the Pan America, we talk about the Bronx, we talk about the older bikes. You know, there's another brand new bike in there besides all three of those in the Livewire that nobody even mentions, and it don't even have a name, but it's one that they still plan on releasing. But the name is like whatever it is, the FX, what the hell ever. That's the name of the bike, and nobody ever even talks about it because it basically looks just like another regular Harley. But you're supposed to be able to customize it or do whatever you want to it when you order it.
Honestly, I know exactly what you're talking about, and what it looks like to me is if they took the XR 1200 and put a twin cam in it.
It's a self-tail standard, right? The one that they pushed out that looks like the Street Bob.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a Street Bob. It kind of looks like standard. Yeah, and the last I saw, it didn't even have a name. It just had FX something, and that was it. That was the name of it. But I haven't standard. I have not researched that bike in a long time.
Well, the FXDR, I mean, one of the problems and why nobody really liked the bike was the fact there was nothing for it. You could, I think there was that plastic eliminator kit that would move the taillights or whatever. That was it, and maybe put in some bars. That was literally your option.
You didn't even get bars.
Well, you get those clip-on. You can get the adjustable ones or something. I think because didn't Blockhead or something? He put a set of those on his. I think.
Honestly, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention. Once he sold his first Lowrider S, I stopped watching, and then when he got the new Lowrider S, I started watching again.
Yeah,
his FXDR content just bored the ever-loving shit out of me.
there was nothing.
Right.
He put an exhaust on it. I think he changed, like I said, the bars.
Nothing against Blockhead. He's a great moto vlogger and has got some awesome content. But the FXDR specifically, that content just bored me.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to this season's giveaway bikes, and not like I could care less about the sports tour, because unfortunately him and Bikenberg have the same problem. They build one style of bike and that's it. I don't know why they can't seem to jump out of that shell.
It's always the club style.
It's always the club style or the bobber style.
To be honest though, to be honest, he always leaves it up. Blockhead actually leaves it up to his audience though. He leaves it up to his patrons, and they always get outvoted if they want something different. So
because we're all just a bunch of pawns, and we always just follow what everyone else is doing. But yeah, I'm also guilty of this a little bit. The first thing I did when I got my dyno was put MXT bars on it. Like I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't say I wasn't a pawn, so
that's fair.
Okay, this is the problem with all the Dyna guys anyway. Because I got T bars as well. But I went a different direction, but still T-bars.
Even mine, I mean, I got drag bars, but I have, I think they're 5.5 up, 1 inch back, or 6 up and 1 back, something like that. So they're similar, but they're different. They're not quite the T-bar that everybody goes with.
I was never one of those guys that fell into that Sons of Anarchy bullcrap and the T-bars and shit like that, dude. I never fell into that crap. But I mean, everybody has their own style. Some people can go ahead and adapt other styles and stuff like that. Me, that's my style right there. That's what I like.
That's fair. Personally, I went with the MXT bars because they're just comfortable.
Yep.
Right. And people give me a lot of shit because I don't have a sissy bar on her and I don't have any bags and I wear a backpack, and everybody's like, well, backpacks for hiking. You know, it's like, give me shit all you want. Guess what? My bike is clean all the way down the side of it. I ain't got nothing sticking off of it. It's just a clean bike.
I ride with a backpack everywhere I go. Like I don't have a sissy bar. I'm thinking about getting some bags so I can like not have achy shoulders at the end of the
bags were a huge game changer for me, at least as far as doing
quick release bags though. Release.
That's what I want. But man, what people want, even for like scuffed up nasties,
it's unreasonable.
Bags. Yeah, they want like almost retail for a crap set of bags. I'm like,
oh yeah,
right.
Here, have these generic hard bags. How much you want for them? Like $800. You're shitting me, dude.
Because they say sports.
Right.
Yeah.
But also it's like I'm 5'8". I got kind of a short torso. So with my seat, I got a real low cut seat and real high back seat. My backpack sits on the seat, so I'm comfortable. It never bothers me.
That's fair. My backpack. I recently got a backpack. I've been trying backpacks like it's going out of style, and I recently got the Boba Fett backpack behind me. And it sits high and close to my back, so it feels great, and I don't have to let the seat take all that weight. I can have it, and it spreads out on my chest, and it's
right.
Great.
Yeah. The suspension backpacks, though, man, they're a game changer as far as comfort. I mean, like this one's padded all the way through. It literally has bungees, and I can adjust it. So just like you said, where I can make it where it'll sit on the top of my seat.
Right on the top of your seat. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I put 2 sternum straps on my backpack, and it just all sits right here.
Yeah,
I'm so focused on the leopard print though.
hey now.
Bow wow.
I know. I kind of pushed this in my video, but yeah. I mean, I got.
Is that color correct? Is that a black stain or a brown stain?
Black. It used to be the wife's makeup chair, and I just kind of stole it. So. But anyway, the thing I'm showing here is that tunnel bag that I have from Saddleman.
Right. Oh, that's nice.
This thing is great because it literally goes on the actual step up part of my seat, and just with a couple straps is all it takes, and I could fit 5 shirts in there, 4 change of underwear, and usually I would just wear the same jeans. So
I wonder if that would fit my monstrosity of a laptop.
If how big's your laptop?
I mean, it's 17 point something or other, but it's also like it looks like a stealth bomber.
It would have to go in at an angle, but it could be done because I fit my 17-inch one in there once or twice.
I mean, if it's just a standard 17-inch, it probably won't.
I'm actually.
Well,
be
it's,
real
it's a gaming laptop, so I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. Okay, I have the Asus stealth bomber.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I've looked at the little bit bigger one, the one that has like kind of like the droop over sides.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I've been looking at that
bag.
one. Right.
Yep.
That
That
gives,
is a
you,
bitchin'
that gives
bag.
you almost kind of like a mini saddlebag.
Now,
Yeah.
On the sides here, the little pockets that were on there, I've already taken the video off. Those little pockets do actually extend out just a little bit. Nothing like the size of that tactical bag, but I don't know. I mean, for me, I don't travel that much. So, I mean, for you on your it was a 4,000-mile trip, you'd probably want something more than that. But I don't know. I mean, I'll probably be gone no more than 2 or 3 days at a time. So I think it's about right for what I need anyway.
Right? Can you link that to me on Instagram? Like that would be fantastic.
Yeah, man.
I definitely want to look at investing in something like that. That would be a really good top case.
Soft sissy bar bag that kind of fit off on the back of the sissy bar, and I liked it for the price because I think I got it for under $60. It was cheap, but it was fairly nice. But it just, by the time I packed all my shit in it was so freaking heavy to pull it up. I mean, it was kind of hard to lift it off I think I would have almost rather had like 2 duffel bags with a cover over it, you know.
Hey guys, I'm gonna shoot.
All right, Paul.
All
Thanks
right,
for joining in, man.
Thanks for coming in,
Hey
man.
Chopper, just for you. Have a fucking good week, cunt.
What was that for?
He behaved himself in this one.
He was.
I was going to
See
go
ya.
off with him as well. Take care, mate.
See you, boy.
See how it is. Later, Paul. Have a good night.
Later, Paul. He's a good.
Man, what a terrible human being. James Gangster wants to see the Boba Fett backpack.
It's right there.
It's hard to see. Let's see.
Okay.
I'll make you bigger at least. Let's try. There we go. So, guys, the new StreamYard stuff is kind of cool. You can click and drag stuff around. I think you sent me the link. Did you send me the link to this stuff?
Screw StreamYard.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear for a second. What?
you sent me the link to that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I said you need to get one because you're chopper fat.
Oh, snaps. Just so you know,
Uh-huh.
that tactical bag I have is actually on sale right now, at least on this website, for $113.
That's not too bad.
That's not terrible at all,
Yeah.
actually.
I'm sending you the link right now, so you'll have it.
Sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So,
What's the next topic?
Anyways,
I don't know. I feel deflated now that all horror. Yeah.
No, but I think you guys
Yeah,
were talking
no,
about luggage. I am not a typical Dyna guy because I'm still a boomer, right? So after a while doing the 500 or 1,000-mile rides, I put bags on mine. They're still easy detach and stuff, but I'm too fucking lazy. So I'm sorry to cuss. and so I
Paul
leave them
ruined
on.
it anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, I left it on. So I left it on anyway. So I'm not a typical Dyna bro in that sense. That I still
right, but
ride.
I mean I don't give people shit that use bags. It's just I hate getting shit from people that use bags. It's like, why? Just because I don't have bags, I'm a bad guy? No, I'm a bad guy because I'm a bad guy, but it's not because I don't use bags.
Yeah, Hollermoto, you jerk.
Right?
No, I'm just fucking
asshole,
lazy.
just call me an asshole.
I'm just fucking lazy anyway. I mean, I used to ride with backpacks that I strapped to my fender and shit. You know, but after a while, when here in my case, when I go across 2 borders, so you know you have to go through customs and everything else.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's a lot
pick
easier
this
to
shit
just.
up.
It's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, exactly. So I just pack my some of my gear in there, just pick up the paperwork and just lock it up and walk. Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, in the past,
yeah.
you have your jacket and you have all the other shit on. You know, you have your helmet and the crap, and then the paperwork. Oh fuck me. You know. That's terrible.
No,
So
I agree, especially but it's exactly what you said. You ride across two borders. We don't do that shit here. You know, we ride across states. We don't ride across states. We don't, state lines. We don't have any border patrols and shit like that we have to go through unless you go down to Mexico or friggin' Canada, and I'm not going to those places.
I mean,
I'm staying here.
I'll avoid Mexico like the plague, but I'll hit Canada. Like I'm
down for maple syrup.
3 hours to the border.
And I'm 8 hours from the border, but no, I can understand why you would use bags. I mean, yeah, it makes it so much easier. Open your bag up, go through your customs, shut your bag. Instead of take your backpack off, open up, take everything out of the backpack so they can search every little pocket hole, put everything back. Absolutely, I agree. I mean, 100% I agree with why you do it.
I mean,
not because you're old. It's not because you're old. It's because it's convenient.
Yeah.
If your backpack hauler, if it's like the actual backpack that I actually have as well, you can fit a few days worth of change in there, and it'd be fine if you wanted to go up to a surgeon or thing.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, not to plug anything, but that's my Ryder. It's called a Ryder backpack. It's from Ryder. I got a deal going on with them, so that's.
I got to put paid advertisement.
Actually, I'm not getting paid, but I get free shit. So.
All right.
Hey, freebie's cheap.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I get free shit, so I push their stuff. But I mean, actually, it is a really good backpack. It started off as a more of a college person's backpack, and they've kind of adapted it to motorcycles, and because they realized they realized that it's a big deal, so they did do that.
Link in the description below. Please hit like and subscribe.
In the description below.
For all the products we're talking here.
I could probably fit some good stuff in there for a while. Yeah, I haven't tried yet. I mean, I've put my drone in there, but that's about it.
No, I mean, it's good. I think it's great that we're sharing all of this because then the people would have a chance to check it out. And in your case, definitely for the Ryder backpacks, you've definitely taken it long distance anyway. So you're a testament to the fact that it is comfortable. Otherwise, you say the piece of shit and you throw it off the side and don't talk about it anymore, right?
Right, yeah. I wouldn't use it. Yeah, I'd be like, fuck this thing. It's gone.
Exactly.
But no, I use it every time I ride.
I do like my Mandalorian, not going to lie. It's pretty great.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. That shit's kind of cool as hell. And if I could get something going with them, I would.
Oh, well, that you'd have to go like all the way to a particular company that I don't necessarily want to mention just because.
No, and that's fine, Anyways,
is it Randy Bird or Randy T.
Randy T. Bird?
So I was asking if we ever owned a Buell, and to be honest, a Buell is kind of on my short list.
I want to.
If it ever comes at the right price, that's the problem.
I owned a Buell. I owned a Buell Blast. I did not own it for very long. 2 reasons. The bike was great. I couldn't keep the front tire on the fucking ground, and at higher speeds it shook way too much. It shook a lot, so I didn't own it for very long. Now,
that's fair.
I know a lot of other people that's had Blasts, and they didn't have the shaking problem. They had the front wheel problem, but they ride like I do, like a stupid idiot.
Bat out of hell.
So it's like, oh look, full throttle,
That's on and off.
That's how I ride that bike too. Yeah, that's how I ride that bike too. I cruise at 100 miles an hour on that bike. That's my cruising speed.
I'll be honest, I want a Ulysses with the bags. That's my problem. I want the whole package, and I can either find a shitty Buell with bags or find a nice one without bags. I don't know why it seems like you can't find both together, or they always want too much for it. That's my problem.
Yeah, right. I think I only had that Buell for about a month. That's about the length I had it. Chopper Fed. I know you're not too far from me, but 291 or 470 out here by Independence Springs. Yeah, 291 and I-70. Every time I'd get on 291 south from I-70, the first thing I do is open it up, and then it just stand up, and I just come on, stay down. Nope. Come on, stay down. Nope. But it was fun. It really was.
So Travis, you said that you wanted a Ulysses. what's too much money for one?
Pretty much less. It's got to be under about $4,000 with in reasonable shape, reasonable, with the bags and all that. Unfortunately, it seems like with the bags, they seem to be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000.
Here's one a couple hours away from us.
Yeah, see,
that's 2 hours away from me.
Yeah, there you go. $47.95. Ask for forgiveness later.
that's actually a pretty good looking.
How many miles?
13,000.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Come on.
Yeah, the ones around here always seem to have like 50, 60,000 miles.
And then they still want $5,000, $7,000 for it.
Yeah.
How much were those new anyway?
I think those were like the 13, 14, I think, with all the accessories. Yeah. Which was kind of expensive for the day, but it was, considering what it was still kind of unique.
All right, boys, I gotta get to work on this Harley. So y'all gonna watch me work.
All right, man.
Y'all gonna watch me struggle, anyways.
This will be entertaining.
We're gonna start hearing some choice words in the background.
Yeah, I got about 5 minutes.
You know what?
Goddamn son of a bitch, Harley.
I controlled myself last night. Last night I was dropping I was knocking the bearing race out, and I accidentally, of course, scraped the old knuckles, and I went to throw the hammer, and I controlled myself. I stopped. I was like, no, don't throw the hammer. Calm down. Everything's fine.
I don't know.
Never in my life have I ever had so much patience.
My Sportster has the nipple to grease them, and I don't know why that wasn't a standard thing on all Harley Davidsons.
No, it is. Yeah,
I've seen a ton of them that don't have it.
Yeah. Some of the older ones they didn't, but I know they've kind of adapted them. But I do think the new ones don't have them either.
Yeah, definitely the newer ones don't.
Yeah, but I've got one. This is a standard Springer thing. You have to maintain a Springer more than you maintain anything else, and it's ridiculous. Because if you don't, shit goes bad.
We still talking neck bearings?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, Dynas don't have them because they have an open spot, like right where the backbone connects to the down tubes. It's just open space, so you would get grease all over your frame and all over your engine, and it would stink and discolor your engine.
Is it a Harley? Yeah, of course.
Well.
It's not a Harley if it's not leaking oil. It's
dude, I'm so sick and tired of hearing that shit. This ain't the old AM what the fuck ever.
AMF,
yeah.
AMF Harleys.
Yeah.
It's twin cam.
Now,
yeah.
Not to. I should probably knock on wood. My Harley doesn't leak any oil because I went through and changed all the seals and everything.
I've done so.
And there's not a single leak on that motorcycle right now.
But that's good. I mean, it's like my bike. Now, granted, I have, I've done gaskets, but all I've done is valve cover, and head gaskets on my bike. That's all I've done. Everything else, I've never had a leak. I got 18,000 miles, and I've got a lot of hard racing on that bike. Yeah. And I haven't blown anything. I don't leak.
Now, I've made mine leak on accident where I put a new primary cover on because my bike came with Fords, but it originally came with mids, and so I tried to just put a Ford outer primary cover on. It just leaks everywhere, so don't do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's the only time the bike ever leaked, though. So
I want to do something a little nuts. I want to take Sportster forwards and put them on the Dyna because the bolt pattern lines up. I'll have to do some custom fab, but
I've heard of people doing that.
I know a tech at the Harley that I used to work at. He put Sportster forwards on his Road King. He had a 2011 Road King and put Sportster forwards on it and got rid of his floorboards, and he loved it.
Oh shit, no, dude. I got spoiled with fucking floorboards.
I can't. I've tried. I rode my buddy's Road King at one point, and I couldn't get a feel for the floorboards. I don't
think I could do I don't think I'd be a big fan of the full ones, but like the 3-4 inch ones, like I'd like to have one that size, just big enough to rest your foot. Because I found that out on that trip because I have the standard you know, Harley pegs for Sportster.
Right.
And it was a little like I had to keep moving my foot because I'd get that uncomfortable spot in my foot after a while. But other than that, I mean, it was just an inconvenience thing having to move my foot.
Some of that's going to come down to your boots too.
Right. Yeah, but see, that's what I had those 3-inch ones on my Super Glide. I took those, took the pegs off, put those on my Super Glide, and I actually like those. But then when I went to floorboards, nah, dude, I'll never go to anything. Floorboards are way too comfortable. And everybody's like, well, how do you like that heel shift? I fucking love the heel shift when I remember I have it. A lot of times I forget I have that bitch. I'm just sitting there shifting. It's like, I got a heel shift. What am I doing?
See, my dad's Fat Boy has heel shift, and when I took it for the first ride, probably about a month and a half ago, the first few, I refused to use that heel shift. It's like this is just wrong. After 20 minutes, I was heel shifting all the time. Then when I got back on the Dyna, I was like trying to hit something that wasn't there. Like,
why isn't it working?
It's already gone.
Right. Yeah, I think it'd be okay in a situation like Holler's talking about where you could use it if you want, but didn't have to. But like on the Goldwing, like the older Goldwings, man, you don't have any choice. You can't get your foot underneath the peg.
Oh yeah, it sits down too low. Yeah,
it sits down too low, and it is the. I guess it probably wouldn't be so bad if I was in a more Harley position than on a Goldwing.
Right.
The Goldwing, you're in that.
They're almost rears.
It is, and it's so awkward, and then on top of that, it is like riding a Sportster. It's clunky, so you got to kind of jam your foot down on it to make it, to shift right.
Right.
And so yeah, it is one of those. It just has to be the right bike in the right situation, I think, too.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
I'm a huge fan of my dirt bike pegs.
A lot of guys like it.
I put it on. My feet don't move if I don't want them to. If I do, then I mean, it's just enough of a platform to be comfortable with the boots that I usually wear. But I mean, it's not full on gaudy floorboards. I can't get comfortable on those for some reason. It just doesn't. It doesn't work for me.
I hear you, man. I do the MX pegs as well, and I didn't think I was going to like them at first, but I got the MX pegs from Crossthread Cycle, I think is their name.
Okay.
I want to get their mini floorboards. Kind of like, Travis, you were saying you don't want the full floorboard, but
right.
I want to get those for the front and then put these MX pegs on my back. But
okay.
But yeah, I love how they grip my boot. And then, I mean, I could barely have it on my boot on the peg itself, as long as I'm like on two of the little spikes.
And you could stand on that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Although I don't trust myself because I'm a fat ass, but
I'm just ridiculously clumsy. So
see, I couldn't use ones like that only because the way my Sportster is, and because I have that force winder intake, my leg is up against that intake. And it does start to hurt after a while. But also, too, the way, and I have a feeling, I've taken some pictures of some later model Sportsters. I think they moved the brake pedal out further on some of the later Sportsters, because mine is like so tucked in that I have to like, it's almost like, when you see a race car driver.
Do you run mids or forwards?
I got forwards.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense then.
Yeah.
And it's, it's that whole, guys that'll blip their throttle type of movement almost, and that's why that type of foot peg, I couldn't maneuver my foot fast enough to hit that rear brake.
Now, see, since we're going to talk about rear brakes real quick, the new Fat Bobs, fuck those rear brakes, they're junk.
No, tell us how you really feel.
When I was riding that sumbitch, I mean, seriously, it sits at such an angle that when you got your foot on the peg, I'm still not. I can't even put my foot on the brake pedal. I actually have to move my foot forward and then push down. It's almost set up like a sport bike. It's ridiculous. Junkiest fucking design I've ever seen in my life. Fuck that bike. Don't buy one.
Yeah, I agree.
I've seen some people swear by them, and I love that Holler Moto's just like, no, let me eviscerate this, because I also think that they're
dude, yeah, believe me, the hate comments I got on that video, them guys are like, I love my bike. I love my Fat Bob. Well, love it all you
right,
want.
you
I
can
fucking
love
hate
it.
He's doing it. Guys, let's be real. He's doing it for the clicks. That's all he's really doing it for. He
Yeah.
really loved the bike.
Hate mail is still mail.
Yeah, but here you're talking about the soft tail, right?
Yeah.
Soft tail Fat Bob, right? Yeah.
I still don't like
yeah.
the Dyna Fat Bob either. Like,
Yeah.
I've never had the opportunity to ride one, so I don't know. I can't, I don't have an opinion on that. The dual headlight setup was kind of cool on it.
yeah, it was neat.
Other than that, I've never got to ride one. This is the first Fat Bob I've ever got to ride, and I fucking hated it. I couldn't stand that bike. And it's funny you say that because, like two ATVs and some other people are like, you know what Holler's new bike is that he's not telling anybody? He got a Fat Bob. No, I didn't.
No, what you should do is get a sticker made for the side that says Fat Bob, no matter what it is.
Right?
You say,
Yeah, I know a guy with a vinyl plotter.
Holler got a Fat Bob for his fat ass. That's what he did.
I ain't got no damn Fat Bob. Anyway, so back to what you were saying. That was just my take on the Fat Bob rear brake. It's shit.
I rode the Fat Bob Dyna though, and it really handled pretty well. I think it came with mid forward control, so it's pretty good, very comfortable.
Oh, so the slightly forward mids.
Yeah,
Or the,
slight forward.
the more.
So you have the best of both worlds, right? So if you literally get into bad ground, you can stand up. Right? With the forwards, you can't do that. I have forwards on mine, so I can't do that because I'm a little bit taller. I'm about 6, and for whatever reason, the street bob's pretty short, so I have to put it to forwards. Otherwise, long distances I'm gonna cramp up.
That's
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but you won't have that problem with the Fat Bob because I swapped over with a friend and rode about 100 miles on it. It was really very comfortable. But this is the Dyna though.
Yeah.
It was
right. It's
well
not
placed.
it's not the new
soft tail.
one. It's
Yeah.
I have. I mean, I've never even had the opportunity to ride one, but if I had the opportunity, I definitely would. And I mean, every bike I test ride, I give it a fair shake. I really do. And I honestly feel like that was probably the better. But it's like I said earlier, they got rid of Dyna, and they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't.
I agree.
that's why they sort of brought it back, as far as
Yeah, but I mean, but it's
demand for it.
right. But it's not a Dyna. It's still
I'll be
a
right
soft
back.
tail.
Yeah.
But a
It's
Dyna
not
was
true.
but a Dyna was always that it was bigger than a Sportster, but not a bagger. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's why it's called Dyna. It's short for dynamic
Right.
because it's a Sportster with a big twin.
Exactly. I think the low riders and the super glides are probably one of the better Dynas that they've ever had.
Mhm.
Right.
That's what I had. I had a Super Glide and I had a lowrider. That's what I've had both of.
And for whatever reason, I think the lowrider and I think the super glide, right, not the
Mhm.
white glide, had
No, Super
more
Glide, yeah.
horsepower, right? Had more horsepower than the rest of the other Dynas, which is weird, right? I don't understand.
Also, and I know I don't remember like my Super Glide. It had the same engine that's on because it was an 07,
96.
so it had the 96.
Yeah.
But and that's why I contest with the damn 96s. It was a great engine. It had shit tons of power. I
Exactly.
love those engines. Yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is that for whatever reason, the low riders and the super glides, right, had more horsepower on the rear wheel than the rest. Because I know I took out my friend's super glide. And because I always wonder, I'm flying. I had the crossbones then, and we were doing a long distance, and we hit a straight road, and the guy
Right.
just tore ass down that particular highway, and I was
Uh-huh.
like really struggling to keep up with him. I was thinking, did you do anything to it? Nah, I just got a stage 1. You just had like air cleaner, and that's it. And that thing just hauled ass, and we were both on
Right.
96s. So strange. And then when
Right,
when I got my street bob, then I think, okay, fuck, it's 103, and it still does not put out that kind of horsepower.
That
No, 'cause
also might just be the feeling that the bike itself gives you, because sometimes a bike can have more specs but feel faster.
Well, I mean, it could be purely gearing. I mean, you can have the same
That too.
horsepower in different gear. It may not top speed, maybe
True.
what yours did, but
It'll
it'll get there fast.
yeah.
Exactly.
Right, like it's like almost all Harleys. You get to 100 like that, but once you hit 100, that's it. It's like, wow,
Then you push it a little bit harder.
You bog down a little bit. Yeah.
But some of them get to 100 a hell of a lot faster. Some of the other ones do.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
for sure.
something because you're talking about fast bikes and obviously Harley, something that I've been seeing a ton of, and it seems like every other dealership seems to have one of these Screaming Eagle race bikes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know
yeah.
why, and I've seen them go for anywhere from about 25 grand, and I saw one up to about 40 grand. And I don't know where they're coming from, because they were never street legal bikes. They were only competition bikes. But for some reason, dealers are, at least in my area, seem to be getting them.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any around here.
Yeah, I mean, I know they were pushing the Screaming Eagle kits quite a bit, the Stage 4, right?
Right,
and
yeah.
To me, honestly, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah, don't
You know,
don't scream an eagle. Don't.
I had
They
a
suck.
friend. I had a friend who put on the Screaming Eagle kit Stage 4 on his what was
SNS.
it?
Go with
Yeah.
SNS or Ultima.
Exactly. I mean, to me, he had it on his lowrider, right?
Mm.
And I think less than 1,000 miles after that, it blew a gasket, it blew a piston, and shit like that. You know, it's like you spent so much money on getting the Stage 4, and it doesn't work. In fact, you have to end up spending more money getting it fixed and
Well,
time
that's-
off the bike.
That's what Adam Sandoval, when he had it for a couple of months, I think, it ended up back in the shop doing a bunch more work, and he was doing burnouts in an episode recently, and we still haven't heard what the diagnosis of the bike is. And he's the same way. He's got Stage 4, Stage 5, whatever the hell it is, and it just, I think they push, like Spiff said, the cylinder wall thickness is stupid thin on some of those stage kits.
Yep.
So
Right, and that's that's like everything I've done with this sumbitch. It's I've made sure I've tried to keep it 96 cubic inch bulletproof, because 96 inches were always, these engines were bulletproof, so I tried to maintain that,
Mhm.
and it's actually worked out really good. I mean, I've got a lot of hard drag races on this bike. I mean, I'm talking about beating R1s in 8th mile.
Wow.
That's what I've got on this thing. So,
Yeah. I realized that the 96s, you don't have to do a Stage 4. You don't have to do a bore out on the pistons, nothing else.
No, I don't know.
Goes.
It goes. You don't need to. The power's already there. Well,
Exactly.
I mean, whenever I first started drag racing this bike, all I did was put an air cleaner and tune it. That's all I ever did to it. And I was out there beating CBR 600s in 8th mile and quarter mile races. That's how badass this fucking 96 cubic inch is.
Yeah. That's a
do
testament.
you run
to,
a stock
that
tire, or
technology.
do you run some type of drag tire on it?
I run Michelin Commander 2s.
That's my guy.
That's what I run. I was looking for a really good sticky tire that I can still, because I ride the bike, I want to be able to ride it. So I wanted to find a good sticky tire. Michelin Commander 2s. I recommend them to everybody.
Yep.
Those tires
I push
are
them so
fucking
hard.
amazing. They are so. I've got a fucking soft tail that sits 3 inches off the damn ground with a 200 rear size tire, and my chicken strips are 1/4 inch. I get that bike down so low. Those tires stick. I mean, I've got I got to replace my primary soon because I'm almost wore a hole through it. I've hit it so many times.
Yeah,
Don't
I
do
know,
that.
the stock tires on Harleys are really shit anyway, right? The
Oh,
Dunlops and what
what
have
are
you.
the Dunlops? Yeah, they're junk
Yeah.
tires. They're shit.
Shinkos
I mean,
are better than Dunlops. Let's
Yeah, I mean,
Let's
hell,
not
if I
mix
could
words.
Now I feel bad for replacing mine with the factory Dunlop.
Yeah, don't ever use Dunlops. I mean, I the very first thing I ever do when I buy a Harley, first thing I do is change tires. I won't even run them out. I don't care if they're brand new. I'll go get rid of them because they're junk tires.
Exactly. I think the for long distances, the Bridgestones are really very good, right? The BD40s and stuff. They're the ones that are doing the wet dry.
I don't know much about those tires. I've never tried them, but I have heard good things about them.
They're good for specific uses, right? So in your case, you're getting those tires for your use. In my case, because I'm from the tropics and it rains a lot, so then getting the Dunlop BT40s is wet dry. So I will always have traction. Traction is very important, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it depends. So on the usage, and Bridgestones were very reliable. I had the Dunlops, I swapped them out to the Bridgestones, and they were so much better.
Right.
Right,
and that's I try to stay out of the rain, so I'm one of them people that I don't have anything to prove. If it's raining, I'm getting in my nice dry pickup truck and driving to work.
I don't have a car to
Alright.
do that with right now.
All right,
All right,
gentlemen.
Travis, see you later.
I'm gonna head out and head to bed. And you guys have a good night. It was nice chatting with you.
Take
All
it
right,
easy.
Travis, take
Yeah,
care,
bud.
man.
Later.
All right, take care. No, I mean it's not that I am one of those guys that like to ride in the rain. I don't, right? But
You
when
don't have a choice.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and last but not least, especially if you're doing 600 to 1,000 miles, right? If you want to get to a real
gonna
good
hit rain.
destination, yeah, for sure. You know,
At least for a little bit, you're
at
gonna
least
hit
for
some
once.
rain.
Exactly, but here and it depends on that on what time of the year, right? So we have the monsoons and everything else. So we're heading onto the monsoon season now. So if everything starts to open up and cross, I'm just going to hit rain. So then it's going to be bad. And then some of the roads here, right? It's across the border anyway from where I am. So it's important to get the right tires for whatever applications you're putting back your front end, are you?
Yeah, trying to. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to. I need it. I need it for tomorrow. So.
No throwing hammers.
Oh yeah, I'm past that. I already dented the head. I dented the headlight on accident last night.
Oh no.
When I don't have a neck bearing race puller.
Oh,
And,
gotcha. Okay.
I'm a welder. I mean, that's what I do. But tricks of the trades over the years of learning how to, take shit apart and stuff. If you weld a bead on the inside of a race all the way around, it shrinks it. So then it just almost falls right out. Well, I did that because I don't have a puller. So I did that. And then I went to tap it out. And the screwdriver went all the way through and hit my headlight and dented the headlight.
Oops.
Because instead of taking the whole front end off, unhooking everything, I just kind of left it hanging there because it's like, that's a lot of work.
Handlebars look like tucked in ears, just like, oh.
Right. And normally, whenever my bad, it's like I said earlier, I've owned 23 Harley Davidsons. And the reason why I own so many bikes is because it needs an oil change. I'll just go buy another bike. I've been a mechanic my whole life and I don't want to do it anymore. So
it's fair.
It's like the Super Glide. I took it up there to get tires and service and I bought another bike instead.
That's awesome.
But this bike I will probably have forever. This is probably the only Harley I will ever keep. Other than that, I really don't want to keep one.
That's what I got to say about the lowrider. This is the only Harley I'm ever going to own.
Well,
and I'm never getting rid of it.
I'll probably own another Harley, but I'm never trading in the lowrider. I mean,
yeah, let's put it this way: if the Bronx were to ever actually happen and be affordable, I would probably own a Bronx.
Right?
But,
yeah. Oh no.
I would not. Yeah, but I wouldn't be trading in my lowrider.
Oh hell no.
For it, though.
Hell no.
I agree with you on that. If the Bronx is an affordable bike and it rides good for a naked bike, I'll go back on what I said of never owning another Harley or buying a new one, and I'll buy that son of a bitch.
Oh yeah.
Well, this kind of goes into the, is it even a Harley Davidson then? I mean,
yes.
Well, it is.
It's got its name on it. But.
Right. Well, because it's like when the Buells first came out, the Harley Buell combo,
Right.
But then Buell came back out a couple years later, and it's strictly just Buells.
Right.
It was the other way around, actually.
What do you mean?
It was just Buell. He didn't even have any Harley parts or anything. It wasn't until after he started using the XR 1200 engines that
yeah.
he said, "Hey Harley, do you wanna get in bed?"
Right.
And
yeah.
Harley was playing hard to get. So.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, and then when he came back out, in the late 2000s? Yeah, then it's just Buell.
Then
again.
it was just Buell again. Yeah.
Right.
Still running Sportster engines.
Is it really? Was
Yep.
it really? Because I didn't know anything about them when they came back out.
The original Buells were like Italian engines or something, like some engines out of Italy, and then he basically bought a bunch of 50 XR 1200 engines that they were just gonna like throw out, and he's like, "I'll take those," and he started putting them in his bikes.
Jeez.
Well, I mean, whatever works.
The Buell Blast is literally half a Sportster engine.
Right? Yes, I knew that.
Oh, yummy.
You know, I as much as I would like to keep, as much as I would like to keep my Harley, my Dyna, but you know, my ultimate goal is, before this bullshit happened, was to go riding really long distance. So if you know anything about where I am, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, right? These are all the borders I can cross and go right across. Now the problem with luggage and everything else, current luggage system means that I could only go about 1,000 miles and maybe a little bit more. You know, then I have to get a change of clothes and do a lot of laundry and shit like that, right? So my ultimate aim is to get a bagger, so then I can really go long distances, and because of the tank capacity, I can go longer and cross borders that's further up, and I don't have to worry about petrol stations because it gets really iffy after Thailand. You know, right? So then you don't really know when's the next pit stop, and you just need to keep looking out for petrol stations and stuff. But if I have a bigger tank capacity, then I don't have that problem.
But that's you using the bike for what it's meant for.
Exactly.
See, out here in the United States, we get all these Me Too guys that go out and bike street glides and road glides.
Bagger bros.
Bagger bros. Just to have that bike. Well, I've got the fairing with stereo and everything. I don't give a shit. I mean, you're not cool, dude. You're really not. You're driving from bar to bar. You never ride that thing over 100 miles in a weekend. That, you know, out here, that's what they do. They don't buy those bikes for what they're meant for. They buy them because they're cool.
To throw them around and show them off because I've got money.
Right, but then you go to like a bike night or something like that, and you got all these Me Too street glides and road glides sitting there, and then they walk across my bike, and everybody's like, "Wow, look at that bike! That one's cool."
Yeah,
Why
they double
doesn't it
take.
look like, yeah, and it's like, because I don't ride what everybody else rides. But the way you're talking, Fletch, is you're talking using the bike for what it's actually
it's meant for. Yeah,
exactly.
Which actually, excellent segue. The one of the topics that I wanted to talk about was what's the target audience now versus a decade ago.
What's the target audience?
The target market. I mean, the target market for Harley Davidson. What was it 10 years ago, and what was it now?
Do they have a specific target anymore?
They do, but they don't.
I think for Harley Davidson, no matter what, until the older generation, you know, I hate to say it, but dies out, that's still their target audience right there. Is an older generation. I mean, absolutely.
You're absolutely not wrong.
The old school Harley guys, I will ride nothing but a Harley, and it has to be this. That's their target, and that's the unfortunate thing. I know I got a lot of sport bike guys, you know, that ride Yamaha, Suzuki, whatever, and they wouldn't have any hard feelings about going from a R1 to a Yamaha Cruiser. Wouldn't have any hard feelings about it. You know, they'll stay with Yamaha, but it's because Yamaha has that dynamic where they got different bikes. Where Harley strictly, we're Harley Davidson, we're V-twin. This is what you get, cruisers. And that's why I feel like that Bronx would do really good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. I feel like their target market. I feel like they're trying to transition to a new target market, and they're just picking all of them all at once, and it's a little too much. I think they're trying to reel in the sport bike bros, and they're trying to reel in the dad jeans guys. Or the ADV guys, you know, they're trying to reel in everybody all at once, and they're spreading themselves every which way, and then now that they've got these people interested, they don't know what to do with it. They're
No, you're
scrambling
right.
a little bit, and then all of a sudden, like, oh wait, you mean we can't sell all of these all at once because the average Joe can't afford it anymore? What are we gonna do?
Right.
And now they're scrambling a little too much. They're which is why they're backing down on so many introduced bikes, because they said we'll have these, and then oh wait, but we can't afford to make them, so never mind. JK,
Right.
guys.
And that's, you know, it's in any kind of business. And what you should do is you should go back and you should restructure. Look at what
Absolutely.
bikes don't good. Go back 10 years from right now to 10 years. What bikes didn't sell good? Get rid of them some bitches. And you know, they're getting rid of the Softail Deluxe, right? That is a huge popular bike. It's a big popular bike, especially around here. Everybody loves the Softail Deluxes, and they're going to get rid of them. It's like, well, I guess maybe the rest of the country don't like them like they like them around Missouri, Kansas City. You know, but get rid of something else that some people don't like. There's a lot of them. It's like you said. He said he was looking at the Switchback. That's not a popular bike.
No, it's not.
It's not a
It never
popular bike
was.
at all.
I've
Yeah,
seen one in person once.
I've seen two. I mean, that people actually own, not at the dealership. Get rid of those.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, get rid of that shit.
So obviously the Switchback was a flop. The Sport Glide from the new Softail is similar, but because it's got the detachable fairing, detachable bags. I mean,
Right, yeah.
but I hear it's such a chore to ride at the same time. So it's like,
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
they're repeating themselves over and over again with these ideas that they thought worked, but they don't.
Right, yeah.
And to be honest, you're not really gonna know what works and what doesn't until it hits the market. But at the same time, like if you want to hunker down and actually start building the capital to do the things that you want, what you need to do is you need to stop getting in bed with the government. Stop asking, all of the save me from, because we're an American icon, like they did
Right,
in the
yeah.
80s and they did in the 90s and the early 2000s and now. Stop with the tariffs. Stop. It's costing Harley so much to produce the bike that they can't make a profit, and they still sell for ridiculous amounts, even here where they're actually being produced finally again.
Right. They closed the Harley plant here in Kansas City.
Yeah, they did, and they're closing. I think they closed both of the ones outside of Wisconsin, didn't they?
That I don't know. I just know the one here. They closed it. And it's I mean, if you're not making money, you need to restructure.
Yeah, and you're mass producing these bikes that you can't sell. Stop mass producing them.
Yeah, I mean, bringing out new bike line, it's a great idea. I think the Pan America is a great idea. I think the Brox is a great idea. Yeah, I do. And just like any business, you have to take a chance.
Sure.
And that's what I was saying earlier. You have to take a chance, but get rid of the shit that don't sell. Save yourself money. And
don't take an $80,000 chance either, because like if say the target market is becoming more and more my generation, and my generation is all about it's all about skinny jeans and skater shoes and what have you, and that's cool and all, but like none of my generation can afford that bullshit unless we were born with a silver spoon in our mouth.
Right, yeah.
If you're
it
born
doesn't
with a silver
work.
spoon, you're not riding probably anyway. So
probably not.
A lot of and that's when it goes to bikes. The people that can't afford a $15,000 bike, say a $15,000. A lot of people can afford a $15,000 bike, but would they really buy a $15,000 Harley when it's not really what they want? It's that they don't make exactly what they want. So they go to Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki, something like that. They go buy that instead of buying a Harley, because Harley's prices, $13,000 Sportster, $20,000 Cruiser.
True. That's crazy.
That's what you get.
Mm-hmm. I know, and since we're talking about bikes that we need and bikes that we want, at the end of the day, is you have those failed ones that are off the line and everything else. You have the switchback, and now you have the sports glide. I think how to go back to the basics. When in the 70s and 80s, and maybe sometimes in the 90s, they were pushing the idea that you buy a Harley that's off the showroom and you make it your own, right? And they kept the prices down. And it's only when they started bringing the CVOs and the sports glides and the switch, by adding shit that and then put a price tag on it that is way, it's not affordable as well, right? So that's crazy.
Right.
Go back to basics again, right? So like you're saying, go back to the basics in terms of style, in terms of
Absolutely.
And
what
maybe
the
they're
bikes are
starting to. Yeah.
But also make sure the customizing parts aren't as much as the fucking bike.
Yeah.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Why it was so good for the Sportsters. Let's talk about the Sportsters, right? For the 70s, 80s, 90s, at the end of the day is they were bare bones. Cheap as fuck. Right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to buy Harley Davidson stuff anyway. They said, look, if you don't want our stuff, it's okay. You go to GP Cycles, Revzilla, you go to Dennis Kirk or what have you, and you buy it off these guys. Way cheaper. It doesn't matter. You bought the bike from us anyway, and you make it your own. Right? It's a blank canvas. Right? But right now they're pushing out bikes that are already tuned in their way and fitted out in their way. And we had to spend much more getting it back to the way we want it.
I actually made a whole video. It was my why I ride video about why I enjoy having a bike so much. It's because of the fact that I could make it an extension of who I am as a person. It's not I don't like buying factory customs. If it's custom from the factory, it's not really custom.
No.
And
no, you're right.
And honestly, like I've loved the Dyna specifically because there's so much on the mod market that you can do anything you want. And I really, really love being able to just take a stock bike and just take everything off and put something else on. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a Harley part because Harley parts suck anyways.
So like you're just telling there, so this is software standard in their customization packages that we talked about earlier. So you have your performance, your coastal, your day tripper, and your touring.
What does that even mean?
Coastal?
Yeah.
Coastal means club style. They just want to.
Okay.
Yeah. That means
West Coast.
Here's your California Sons of Anarchy bike.
Okay, $1,600 package for a fairing that I hear is basically terrible. You get some foot pegs, some risers, and a seat for $1,600.
No.
That's a ripoff.
That's ridiculous.
I can pay like $800 for all of that and put it on myself.
Yeah. Now you got the day tripper. The day tripper's a little cheaper, but you get a sissy bar. You get a back pad. You get the
shitty cheap bag.
Yeah. For almost $1,100.
Swing on back.
Who's going to buy that?
Fuck.
Who's going to buy that? Now here's the last one. I think this last one's the most expensive. The touring edition one. Come on.
It's basically a sport glide.
Yeah. $1,700 for a seat, some bags, and they look like they're throwover bags too.
Yeah, they are.
They actually do. Yep, they look like throwover bags.
So
I mean, I kind of dig the throwover look. Not gonna lie.
But
and
again,
what is that like a 3-inch 4-inch riser? No, those are pegs. Those are pegs. Never mind.
Yeah, those are peg brackets.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It looks like maybe I'm not sure what that thing is in the top right. Let's see here.
Shit.
It looks like maybe a turn signal.
It's a turn signal kit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you probably can't run it with the bag. So
yep.
I mean stuff like. So then they're probably like, well, we also need you to pay to have this installed as well. Like, so you just jacked me for $1,700 and they charged me another little bit.
Tell us what you think.
Oh, hang on a second. Let me type that shit in real quick. I'll tell you what I think.
Right.
This is bollocks.
Right. So, and here's the last part of this though. Is so it's $1,700. What the dealers are going to do with this is they're going to get these soft hill standards in, and they're going to go ahead and package them up for you. They're not even going to give you the choice to buy one bare bones and stripped down. They're all going to have this touring package or coastal, so it's going to jack the price up to 17 grand again, and then boom, you're outside your target demographic as always. So
Right.
Yeah.
all right, rant's over. Sorry.
No, it's don't apologize. This is why we're having this conversation. What I really liked about Harley when I was a kid versus now. Now I don't give a shit about Harley as a company. I don't give a shit about Harley as a brand. I like my Harley, and the rest of them can disappear off the face of the earth, and I wouldn't care. The thing that I really loved about Harley as a kid was seeing all of the cool things that people did to them. All of the work that people, all the blood, sweat, and tears that people just poured into their paint and their hardware, their tin, their everything. And just like, I really don't like choppers. I don't like the style. I don't like the way they feel. I don't like the way they sit. I don't like anything about them except for the culture.
Right.
I like the culture of choppers because the culture of choppers is very much, I don't give a shit what you think about me and my bike. It's mine. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Like, don't leave me alone.
Well, that's part of the reason for the name is because of that I don't give a shit about what you think about my bike.
No,
I put freaking Star Wars things on my bike, almost like kind of started off as a joke. It's like, no, I'm just gonna keep going with it because hey, why not? Because no one even knew what my little mythosaur skull thing was. Like, what is that? Some little strange cow? I'm like, yeah, it's a cow.
Sure.
But think about it, guys. The word chopper, where did it come from? It came from the 70s, right? And it's basically to chop things up.
Chop
off the rear fender. It started with the fenders. You chop this up and you change it around.
Neck.
And the neck, right? And the rake and what have you. And that became a chopper, right?
Right, yeah.
And it's to go to what we were saying earlier, right? Is stop selling all this overpriced shit and putting those packages that Brett was mentioning just now, and keep it simple, the base stuff. And that's what also drew me towards the Harleys, the fact that I could just change it out, that it becomes so unique that it's mine and nobody else will have the same street bob as I have.
The lowrider didn't exist until somebody made one. Just gonna say, just gonna put that. I mean, I totally bought a lowrider because I love them, but it didn't exist like even in the 70s as the FX. As that original shovelhead lowrider. It didn't exist until somebody made one.
Yep.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And the thing is that is a blank canvas. And I have a friend here that has the Night Train, which doesn't exist anymore. It's a Softail, right? 96.
Yeah,
he literally brought it to a shop.
Stupid decision to get rid of the Night Train.
I know, it was a beautiful bike. It's now, I don't know what, 20 plus years old. He brought it into a shop and he literally changed out the tins. He's repainted it. He's added stuff to it, and now it's a Night Train that you've never seen before.
Right.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of them sad things.
And I think that's what you should be
right. No, everything you're saying is exactly right, and that's one of the things that appeals to, especially the older generation of Harley riders, is they were around whenever that shit started, whenever you could build Harleys into choppers. Now, granted, a lot of those guys don't do that anymore. They just ride their Harleys, but they still customize them somewhat. But that is the aesthetics of a Harley. Everybody loves Harley for that reason, that you can do whatever you want with it and make it your bike. You can't do that with sport bikes. I can change the plastics out on them and paint them like that, something like that. But you can't
stun
change
them out,
the rake.
That's it.
Yeah. You can't rake them. You can't do that kind of shit with those. Not like
welding aluminum is a bitch.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you think some of the models they put out now, you can't customize it. Try and customize an FXDR.
You can't. Yeah.
You can't do anything. In fact, I had a guy who's pretty he's vertically challenged, right? And it comes with forward controls.
Mm-hmm.
He can't put it to mids because of the way the exhaust is placed. There's no way. So he can never buy that bike.
fuck the Fat Bob. You can't do shit because of that exhaust on there.
Same thing. Yeah. So it's modeled the same way, right? So the FXDR
Right.
and the new fucking Fat Bob is the same way. They've designed it in such a way that they strayed so much away from the basics, which is customization, right? You can't do it with that.
So
Fuck that.
on the night train, was that the first
Don't worry, I
bike
got big
that
plans for you, baby.
was the night train the first bike that Harley started blacking out motors and pegs or covers and
Yes.
stuff too?
Yeah.
Is that what started all that?
Yeah,
Mhm.
first one that came out with the 200 series tire, everything,
Yes.
you know.
Exactly.
Basically came out, the first bike that came out with the 96 cube with the intro on it too.
And
Mhm.
here's the thing about the old swing arms, which you can't do with the new ones, right? Is you can put a big tire behind if you want to.
Yes, you can.
Right.
Yes, you
Start
It's
can.
got the big end, yeah.
They actually they sold a kit for the night train that you could go from a 200 to a 220 or 250 size rear tire.
250.
They sold
Exactly.
a
That's what
rear
he did.
kit.
In fact, they have a guy. I don't know if they still exist now. A company called Heartland for the old Softails that you can swap out the rear ends, and you literally can put a 300 on it. So I had another friend
Yeah.
with a night train and put a 300 rear on it, and that thing
Mhm.
went. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Because that
Gorgeous
engine
bike.
on that bike.
I don't know if I like that 21-inch tire. I'm not a fan of the pizza cutter, but the rest of the bike is just gorgeous.
Right. I love night trains. Bikes Harley should never got rid of. Night train, V-Rod,
Crossbones.
they shouldn't have crossbones. They shouldn't have got rid of crossbones. Yes, it's old technology, but it's technology that's still fucking. That bike right there rides like a damn Cadillac.
Yeah.
Even with that, everybody's isn't the Springer front end really stiff? No, it's a Springer front
No.
end. It's soft. It feels amazing.
Yeah. And so that night train, it looks like it's got a pretty long rake on that. What is it? Probably a 34 degree
you-
rake?
Look at the front fork.
I wouldn't say more than 32.
Look at the front forks on it. I can't believe Spiff didn't get mad as hell. It's got wide glide front forks on it.
It does.
Yeah.
It's got a wide glide front end. I
It
really
did.
hate pizza cutters
It had a wide glide front end on it.
because across the board, usually, and unless you ride in a Sportster, usually your front end runs the same diameter. So
Yeah.
So all the 09s, whether it's a Dyna, a Softail, or a touring line, it runs 49 mil. Anything before I think 06 ran a 39 millimeter, except for maybe the touring line.
or Springers.
Springers don't run a front end like that, so you can't really. That's like comparing, apples and dragon fruit. Yes, they still grow on trees, but
Right.
their composition's a little different.
Good call on the 32 degrees.
Right.
It's 32
Chopper,
degree
where-
was pretty standard back then.
Yeah. Chopper, where do you live at?
I'm down in Gardner. Down in Gardner.
Yeah. You're not even an hour from me.
Sweet, man. You get
Like
up and ride
45
sometime.
minutes. Yeah, like 45
I
minutes.
want to see some dual vlogs.
Not that I would be able to keep. Not that I'd be able to keep up, but
Hey, once we hit 100, we're not. We neither one of us are going that fast. Even though I've got all that fucking horsepower in this thing, it still doesn't. It still tops out right at 130, 135.
Okay.
I get to 100 really quick. I get to 120 decent, and then after that, it's like, come on, baby, let's go. We can make it. Sometime.
It's like a coffee crash. It's like, all right, good morning, ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
And if there's any police officers watching this video, we're talking in kilometers per hour, not miles.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about riding in Mexico, not here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mexico. Mexico. Isn't there like a Mexico, Missouri? I'm pretty sure there is.
It's just south of you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's just south of you.
Let's go to Mexico.
You know where
game.
Pittsburgh. You know where Pittsburgh is, just south of you. Yeah, and Mexico's right there.
Oh, you're
It's right by
talking
Pittsburgh.
to an East Coaster. Pittsburgh is an entirely different place than there.
Yeah, no.
Pittsburgh,
Our Pittsburgh,
Kansas.
Kansas is. Well, they got a college there, right?
Pitt
Yeah,
State.
Pitt State. So, but it's nothing like
No.
for PA.
Yeah, no. You say Pittsburgh, and I'm like Pennsylvania.
It's
No.
it's about as podunk as it gets, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is not podunk at all.
That's actually one of my favorite sceneries. Is when I used back in college, I drove out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It was one of the best drives I had before I was riding, and I want to ride that on a motorcycle, going through all the mountain tunnels, and then you just come out and like, oh, there's this giant mountain, and you just kind of turn and you just keep going through them over and snaking your way through.
But I want you to keep an eye out for a video I'm going to be putting out soon.
All right.
You'll know it when you see it.
All right.
I promise. Right. But you're gonna get to see like some prime riding.
Nice. Awesome.
All right. So I have a quick question. How's everybody feel about? How does everybody feel about the other most expensive, most unreliable bike out there? Ducati.
Ducati.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit. I hate it.
fucking poser bike. Fuck.
I hate it. It's Italy's Harley.
Yeah. It never shows up in my searches. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think I did a search once for like the Panigale and then thought better of it.
Yeah.
Since I like buying expensive, not reliable items, I love Ducati. But not the Ducati sport bikes. My dream bike is to have the Ducati X Dival S. It's a cruiser
Ooh.
that does 170 miles an hour with 170 horsepower. That's what I want.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then the all-time most reliable Ducati, the Monster 1200. I mean that's their most.
You can't go
reliable
wrong
bike.
with the Monster 1200
No.
though. Like that is effectively their version of the Sportster.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great bike.
A Monster
sure.
anything. I mean, to me, whether it's a 400, 650, 900 to 1,000, I've never had anyone complain about the Monster. Right? I think that's probably the most reliable bike they have. Sport bikes fuck because you have to spend a lot of money on it and it always fucks up.
Right.
They have the off-road ones, right? The adventure touring one, right? The
Multistradas.
The Multistradas, which
Multistrada,
nobody fucking rides it anyway, right?
No, it's
Shade Tree Surgeon has one.
yeah, Shade Tree has one. The Hypermotard, the most unreliable one they have. I mean, that thing breaks down like nothing, you know.
Exactly.
I think
What's
if I were to
crazy
go
is they're
for
all
another bike,
based off the same platforms. But
Oh, yeah.
they can make it work in certain bikes, but not either. Like the Dival, make it work. They got the same engine as the Monster has, only with a little bit more power, but they're both reliable bikes. All the other Ducatis aren't. I don't understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I love Ducati and I want a Dival.
that's fair.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like he was setting us up for that question.
Yeah.
No, I
little
was just kind of curious of what, three other fellas' idea of Ducati, see how y'all like them.
It's hit or miss.
If one fell into my lap, I wouldn't deny it, but I'm not gonna go seek one out. I don't think.
If someone gave me the keys, I wouldn't exactly turn it down, but like I wouldn't go out of my way to have one.
Right. I mean, but then you got the service on a Ducati. I mean, just the 5,000 mile service, that's $1,200.
Jeez.
The 20,000 mile service, that's almost $10,000.
Yeah.
I'm out. See ya.
Yeah.
To me here in Singapore, the Ducati is the most expensive bike to have, right? It's the rich guys only have it, and they only just ride it around. You have the super sports bikes that they put out. These guys will buy it, maybe do 1 or 2 track days, and that's it. Keep it in the garage.
Singapore equivalent to Biker Bro, right? To Bagger Bro.
A Bagger Bro, right? But then they show off that, everybody knows, but the moment they ride it, that this thing bloody costs a lot of money, and the fact that we have a dealership now that is pretty reliable. In the past, it wasn't so, and they still have getting parts, and it's so expensive to maintain. that I think it's just really not worth getting it, right? If anything goes wrong, then you're just basically fucked.
Yeah, but it's not any different here. If it breaks down, it's hard to get parts. It really is.
Oh yeah,
and it's very expensive to get parts.
It's the opposite of Harley Davidson in Australia. It's the same correlation. You know,
right?
You have a bike not made locally, it's going to be a lot harder to get what you need.
Yeah.
Harley's premium is in the service itself, like the labor. The parts aren't that bad. It's the labor.
Oh, the Harley parts are cheap. Can be cheap. Although
be cheap.
They'll try and charge it at $8 for a shock bolt, but you know.
Well, okay, wait. Okay, these neck bearings I just bought, right? I could have ordered them and got them myself. I could have went to the bearing house and got them myself if I could have found out the numbers and what size they was and got both of them for $25-$30. I paid $60 for these at Harley.
Yeah,
and that's ridiculous. And
that is a little bullshit.
You gotta remember, it's not the bikes that are expensive. It's not the other stuff that's expensive. The fucking T-shirts are expensive, $15,000, and then you get a bike with it.
Yeah, no. And the parts as well. But you know, the good thing is that at least for Harley, because and certain models anyway, I'm not saying all models, that we are still able to get aftermarket stuff easily. So order it and get it in. At least I don't have to worry about going to the dealership and getting it done. And we're pretty lucky here as well. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were still going.
I think we're lucky that we have a lot of ex-mechanics from Harley that opened up their own shops. So I don't have to go and pay crazy prices at the dealership.
Right.
And just go to these guys and get it done.
Makes me wonder what John Maxwell's charging versus what Harley dealerships charge for service.
Probably a little less because he doesn't have to deal with the bullshit of having Harley corporate overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but then also you got to remember those guys that are ex-Harley mechanics and they open up their own shops. A lot of those guys do that because they know the public's getting ripped off.
Yeah,
by using Harley service. Like, well, I'll just open my own shop and I don't have to charge these prices.
I could charge you half and steal your business. Basically, he could become a Walmart and undercut and sell enough to make plenty of money. So,
but I mean, you will always have your hardcore guys that will go to Harley service. You know, there's always those guys. But I'm thankful for those guys that don't, that will leave and start their own shops and will work on cruisers or Harleys at half the fucking price.
Yeah.
And I'll give them my business every chance I get.
Oh yeah, same. And I can tell you for a fact, like as far as aftermarket parts, Harley getting a Harley is a really safe investment. Even if Harley as a producer of motorcycles dies, you will always have replacement parts. Ultima and S&S make your entire they make crate engines and transmissions and primaries. So like if anything on my engine goes out, I'm not even gonna bother hunting down an OEM part. I'm going S&S or Ultima.
You could pretty much make an entire Harley Davidson without an actual Harley Davidson part.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Paco frames, Rolling Thunder frames,
tins, tanks. I mean, there's so much like you could do, and it's like, it's technically a Harley. I mean, it's got everything Harley would have came with, but it's not made with a Harley part.
I was considering going through like Paco. I was considering going through like Paco for like before I got the Dyna. Like I was considering building my own bike, and I was gonna build an FXR just straight up, like without even buying a single OEM part.
Right.
It would have costed me like 6 times my Dyna, but it would have been an adventure and it would have been neat. But I mean, you can get frames, you can get crate motors, you can get transmissions, primaries, every single part that Harley produces, you can get from another company.
And these things aren't hard to build or maintain. Now, if you start talking about engine internals to me, I won't know what's going on. But,
I'm your guy.
But if you're talking anything else that's on, as far as where the wiring goes, anything like that, Harleys are a very basic bike. They are very simple. It's usually one harness up front, one harness to the back, figure it out. I mean, they're really
They're pretty easy to trace. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like before I started moto vlogging and before I started wearing full face and got a Cena, I got the stereo system, the speakers, the Bluetooth speakers you put on your handlebars and shit. And the guy I got it off of, he goes,
so much.
he goes, I bought this. He goes, I have no idea how to wire it up, so here you go. And dude, you can search whenever I first got it, and this is 5-6 years ago. You could not find anything on how to wire this sumbitch up without paying for it. So I just started kind of fumbling around. And it's like, okay, well, this is the wire I need for a constant power. Where the fuck do I get that on the Harley? It's like, oh, well, I'll just go to this wire here. And that's where you're right. The wiring system on a Harley is so simple to deal with. Yep. It was easy to just look, trace, and find it.
Yep. Oh, goodness. All right, guys. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I just really hate BAM audio. I hate audio on a bike. Like, bikes aren't supposed to be comfortable. Stop it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, thank God for Cena.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we are approaching the 3-hour mark, which is about where my stream's in for the week. I want to thank Holler Moto and especially Spiff McFluff for joining us here today. Thanks for sticking it out all the way through.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, guys. And you guys are always welcome on the show. Feel free to come in. We're here every Friday, it seems like. So, as always, though, I am Brett. I'm Chopper Fett.
And I'm Fletch. And see you next week on my channel. Same time, same place, same people, hopefully. So take care, guys.
And we might come up with a pocket.
And we'll try. Take care, guys.
Thanks a lot.
See, and broadcast.
Yeah.